Because he was too ugly, he transmigrated to ancient times and became an assassin. And his assassination target turned out to be his own husband, a foolish prince with the IQ of a 3-year-old. For this, the main villain even forced him to take a poison pill. If the assassination failed, he would die from the poison. But of all things, a system demanded that he change the foolish prince's fate. Otherwise, he would drop dead on the spot. What the hell? This is simply a dead end. Just a moment ago, Huang Xiaoye, who had accidentally transmigrated, was completely bewildered. In his fragmented memories, the original owner of the body, dressed in wedding attire, was attacked by assassins on her way to be married. But the man in the carriage chose to stand by and watch, even looking on as he fell from the cliff. Just as he was trying to explore more of the memories, a strange roar came from behind him. He turned around, trembling. After letting out a scream, he was so frightened by the eerie figure that he collapsed to the ground. In the dim light, there was a man wearing a lion-tiger mask. In a state of panic, Huang Xiaoye directly picked up a 200-gene stool. But just then, the man stopped in his tracks. The moment the mask was lifted, an incomparably handsome face appeared before him. At that moment, the young woman recognized him at a glance. He was the man from her memories who had watched her die without lifting a finger. His body filled with rage, he roared at the man. But in the next second, the man clamped a hand tightly over his mouth. He signaled for him not to make a sound. His deep eyes seemed to freeze one's soul. "Big sister, I'm playing hide-and-seek with bad guys. Can you please not shout?" With his mouth covered, Huang Xiaoye felt an inexplicable sense of suffocation. He didn't know who this person was, much less what he wanted. Wanting to protect himself, he swung the stool. The moment the man fell to the ground, he quickly rushed out the door. But his path was blocked by a eunuch who had just arrived. "Princess consort, where might you be going?" Hearing this, the young woman was stunned. "What's going on?" "Princess consort. I actually transmigrated and became a princess consort." "Princess consort, you were in a coma for many days. You're finally awake. Her Majesty the Empress has summoned you. Please wash up and follow me." After returning to his chambers, the transmigrated Huang Xiaoye pretended to have amnesia from the fall. He then learned from a maidservant that his name was Ling Wan, and his father was the prefect of Ningzhou. He had died in battle a year ago, as the emperor of the Qing kingdom was bedridden with a long illness. The empress took the opportunity to seize power. She married Ling Wan to Prince Zhao, making her the princess consort. However, when he stepped into the palace, he was so intimidated by the empress's imposing aura that he broke out in a cold sweat. "Lin Shi, as the #1 assassin of Feihua Pavilion, you were seriously injured by a group of mountain bandits. What is your explanation for this?" Hearing this, Ling Wan was scared out of his wits. "What the hell? Wasn't I supposed to be the prefect's daughter? How the heck did I become an assassin? They even changed my name. This is a total setup. You should know, Her Majesty the Empress never keeps a disloyal dog. Could it be that you're trying to betray me? So you faked a serious injury to evade the mission?" At this point, Ling Wan, unable to retrieve any memories, was panicking. "Damn it. I have no idea what they're talking about. The mission. Ling Wan, answer me." Seeing her pressing him, Ling Wan resorted to a classic TV drama trope. Your Majesty, I did it for the greater good. It was a difficult but necessary choice. Your Majesty, you understand. Seeing the Empress was still hesitant, Ling Wan decided to go all in. "Your Majesty, I did it because I was afraid of my identity being exposed. I had no choice but to resort to such a measure." Although he had no idea what this mission was, thankfully, this all-purpose excuse worked. The Empress put down her teacup. "You handled it well. The matter of killing Prince Zhao indeed requires utmost caution and foresight. It seems I haven't raised you for all these years in vain." Hearing this, Ling Wan was instantly dumbfounded. "Holy crap. What the hell? Isn't this Prince Zhao my current husband? The person I'm supposed to assassinate is him." However, the Empress was naturally suspicious. To be on the safe side, she ordered her maid to stuff a pill in a Ling Wan's mouth. "I will give you 1 month. If you succeed in assassinating Prince Zhao, I will naturally give you the antidote. If Prince Zhao isn't dead by then, you will die in his place." Back in his residence, Ling Wan's thoughts were in a turmoil. Other people who transmigrate get to enjoy good food, fine wine, and handsome men. How come I have to kill my husband and become a widow the moment I arrive? Next, please. But the man in the lion-tiger mask appeared again. Startled, Ling Wan subconsciously pushed him away, and the man's mask fell off. With a thud, the man fell to the ground in a sorry state. "How is it you again?" Unexpectedly, the man suddenly started wailing like a child. Chi's head hurts so much. Chi is going to die. Boo-hoo. A stunned Ling Wan was completely bewildered. What is this situation? But the next second, the man started rolling back and forth on the ground. Seeing him cry even harder, Ling Wan's jaw dropped in shock. My God, why is this guy acting like a fool? Faced with this scene, Ling Wan was on the verge of a breakdown. She quickly bent down to comfort him. "I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. You suddenly popped up and scared me." But the man wouldn't listen at all. "You're a bad person. Only bad people hit Chi." Boo-hoo. Ling Wan was rendered speechless by the whole ordeal. She just couldn't understand why the Empress would want to kill a fool. To test him, she drew on her skills as a kindergarten teacher. There, don't cry. I'm your wife. How about your wife treats you to some candy?" Hearing the word candy, the man instantly blinked his big, innocent eyes and looked at Ling Wan. "You just have to answer one question, and I'll buy you any candy you want." The man obediently sat up and nodded. Ling Wan playfully clapped her hands. "Then tell your wife, what's your name, and how old are you?" The man puffed out his chest and said in a childish voice, "My name is Xie. I'm 3.5 years old." Then he held out his hands. "Wifey, candy." Ling Wan patted her pockets, which were emptier than Sorry about that. "Wifey has no money right now." Hearing this, Xie pouted, his face full of disappointment. Ling Wan felt a pang of pity and stroked his head. And no wonder he didn't react when I asked for his help during the imperial decree. It seems I misunderstood him. "Lil Chi, don't be sad. Wifey will make it up to you next time." Hearing this, the man lifted his face and looked at Ling Wan with anticipation. However, his handsome face made Ling Wan blush. This little fool is so handsome. What a pity. Other people's princes are cool and domineering, while my prince is only 3.5. What a sin. Suddenly, a static noise sounded in Ling Wan's mind. A system popped up, ordering her to change Xie Chi's destiny, or the world would be completely destroyed. But if she refused this mission, she would die on the spot. What the hell? The Empress has poisoned me. If I save him, I'll die in a month. If I don't, you'll make me die right now. Can't you just give me a way to live? Seeing the countdown continue, Ling Wan was completely numb. Least give me a way to get the antidote. With only 1 second left, a tearful Ling Wan had no choice but to agree. As Ling Wan was getting ready for bed, she never expected this little doll to barge into her bedroom, clamoring to sleep with her. Little did she know, something even more outrageous was to come. At night, he is the decisive and formidable His Highness, Prince Zhao. But by day, he is the foolish prince with the intelligence of a 3-year-old who barges into her boudoir. Placing his hand on the woman's neck, he knew full well that the Empress's sudden decree of marriage clearly had an ulterior motive. But he didn't make any further moves. Instead, he directly lifted the woman's quilt. Mother said that after getting a wife, I have to sleep with my wifey every day. Otherwise, I'd be a heartbreaker. Her sweet dream disturbed. Ling Wan clenched her fists and kicked her bewildered little husband out the door. Facing her little husband who was crying and shouting to be let in, Ling Wan laid down the law. "Next time you dare to sneak into my room, you're going to get a beating." She thought she had scared him away, but unexpectedly, he stayed at her door all night. Chi must protect wifey. The tall man, all dirty, opened his palm and held it out to Ling Wan. Chi went to the kitchen and stole candy yesterday. I wanted to give it to wifey. He carefully unwrapped the candy paper, but the candy had already melted into liquid. The candy is gone. I kept it in my pocket all night, and it's still gone. Ling Wan licked the sugary water from her hand. That Chi's candy is really sweet. Then she stood on her tiptoes and gently stroked his head. "Thank you for the candy, Chi. I'm very happy." The sudden gesture left the man stunned, as if the air around them had frozen. Just then, the voice of a servant calling them for a meal came from outside the door, presenting them with sour and hard leftover rice. Chi was about to eat it without hesitation. A shocked Ling Wan quickly snatched the bowl from his hands. "Are you crazy? How can you give dog food to the prince?" She fiercely smashed the bowl on the ground. "Who gave you the nerve to bully the prince? It seems to me you don't want to live anymore. Look at his foolish state. Call him a prince? It's a miracle he hasn't starved to death." Lin Wan tried to step forward and argue, but was shoved aside by the stout man. The man's initially naive gaze suddenly turned incredibly sharp. He turned his body to brace himself against the pillar. With a thud, Lin Wan fell right into his embrace. It's best for the princess consort not to meddle. Looking at Chi, who was now a crying mess, Lin Wan's heart ached. Don't be afraid. I'm here for you now. Leading the man to the bath, Lin Wan was furious. Those heartless brutes. I'll definitely find a chance to teach them a lesson. However, the next second, she switched to a gentle expression. Chi, go take a bath first and change out of these dirty clothes. I'll go get you a clean set. But just as she turned, the man reached out and grabbed her. Seeing Lin Wan's confusion, the man let go, a look of grievance on his face. My lady, can you please not go? Lin Wan gently caressed his cheek. Be good, Chi. Those bad men won't come here. I'll get your clothes and be right back for you. Be good. Seeing that she was about to leave, he spoke again to stop her. My lady, it hurts here. I think I'm injured. Hearing this, Lin Wan anxiously stepped forward and pulled open his outer robe to check the injury. The man was startled by this sudden move, and his face reddened. Lin Wan's hand hovered over his smooth skin. Realizing her own recklessness, she blushed to the tips of her ears. Good. It hasn't hurt the muscle or bone. It's just some bruising. I'll go get you some medicine. But she had only taken 2 steps when a heavy splash sounded from behind her. When she turned back again, the man was nowhere in sight. Panicked, she turned around, exasperated. If you're playing a prank, I'm going to ignore you from now on. But seeing the man's body slowly sinking, she, who couldn't swim, jumped in after him. The next second, however, she was held tightly by a large hand, and then her entire body was lifted out of the water. My lady's clothes are wet. Now you don't have to leave. Lin Wan angrily pushed him away. You tricked me. Even your mischief should have its limits. However, her feet slipped. She fell backward unexpectedly. The man immediately pressed his body close, holding her securely in his arms. My lady, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to trick you. His warm breath swept across her face. The air was thick with the scent of hormones. Chi just wanted my lady to stay. I didn't mean to make my lady angry. If Chi is good, will my lady stay with me? At this, Lin Wan's anger instantly melted away. Perhaps he was just deeply insecure. Don't worry, I'm your wife. Of course I will always stay with you. Little Chi danced with joy, and he made a pinky promise with her. My lady has to keep her word, okay? At midnight, in a certain part of the prince's mansion, a dark figure silently entered the room. Your Highness, a message from Mr. Shun. For this year's royal hunt, the Empress has granted special permission for you and the princess consort to attend together. It's likely this matter is suspicious. The man opened his palm, looking meaningfully at the candy inside. Oh, Empress, you just sent me a new toy, and I haven't even tired of it yet. And you're already starting a new game. This little game of house. You must play it with me to the very end, my dear wife. Your Highness, one more thing. Mr. Shen has confirmed Lin Wan's identity. She is indeed the #1 assassin from the Feihua Pavilion, Lin Shi. Mr. Shun fears the Empress has other motives and advises you to kill her as soon as possible. The man looked coldly at the doll in his hand. The farce you arranged today was a bit too realistic. This prince was so disgusted I could barely stomach it. To go so far as to plan an assassin next to me, Prince Zhao. But this assassin makes no move to kill me. Tell me, what exactly is she plotting? Or is she trying to use this chance to investigate me? Then I shall see if this person you've chosen has what it takes. He is clearly exceptionally intelligent and peerless, yet he deliberately pretends to be a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. He knows full well his wife is an assassin sent by the Empress to kill him. Yet after testing her again and again, his heart softens until he is completely captivated. At that moment, the young woman with a storm of thoughts in her mind crouched in a corner, doodling aimlessly. She kept feeling like she was missing a crucial clue. She tried hard to recall the original owner's memories. That's right, the one who attacked was no ordinary person. Because he's indifferent to money, yet he won't stop chasing after the original host. It seems that besides the Empress, another power is at play. Deep in thought, Ling Wan completely failed to notice the man gradually approaching from behind. Once Ye Qi confirmed Ling Wan was the assassin sent by the Empress, he was certain that at this very moment she was plotting how to kill him. He silently sat down beside her wifey. The low, deep voice made Ling Wan's heart skip a beat. But in the next second, he lifted her into his arms. Aki will be your cushion, wifey. That way you won't get chilled. His actions made Ling Wan blush to the tips of her ears, her heart fluttering like a trapped fawn. The man playfully opened his palm. Wifey, what about the candy you promised me? Unintentionally flustered, Ling Wan shook her head frantically. You beast. He's just a child. Ling Wan leaped to her feet. Right, I'll go earn money to buy you candy right now. With that, she took off at lightning speed, waving goodbye. The man's naive expression cleared, his eyes regaining their sharpness. He ordered Li Shuang behind him to follow her. Meanwhile, Ling Wan had accidentally run into the woods where she first transmigrated. She scanned her surroundings, hoping to find some clues. Before long, she found a hidden weapon in the undergrowth, identical to the one used by the man in black that day. She was still unaware that the man was one of the prince's own subordinates. She mistakenly assumed some other power was trying to harm the prince, and even silently vowed to protect him at all costs. Elsewhere, the man stared thoughtfully at the drawings on the wall. She went to the forest. Yes, Mr. Shan says the Empress may have already taken notice of the forces at your command. He suggests that you kill Ling Wan as soon as possible. The man caressed the drawing, a hint of regret in his touch. A blissful marriage, a beautiful bride. I truly am a bit reluctant. What a pity. But since the Empress is so greedy, we'll do as Mr. Shan advises. In the dead of night, a figure slipped into Ling Wan's room. Just as Li Shuang was about to strike, Ling Wan, who had seemed sound asleep, suddenly woke up. She rolled aside, dodging the fatal blow, then shot out a leg, kicking her attacker to the ground. Fearing for the prince, he rushed over. With no time to explain, Ling Wan grabbed his hand and fled out the door. Aki run. There's a bad guy. The two of them sprinted through the courtyards. Terrified for her life, Ling Wan pulled the man along, not daring to stop for a single moment. Reaching a woodshed, she told him to hide quickly. Watching the woman shield him with her own trembling body, the man could clearly feel her terror. Ling Wan bent down and picked up a piece of firewood. Though consumed by fear, she had only one thought. She had to protect the man behind her. Aki, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Her actions took the man by surprise as well. He just didn't understand. She was clearly the assassin sent by the Empress to kill him. So why was she doing this? By now, the assassin had reached the door. She watched as the figure drew closer and closer. Ling Wan focused all her attention, preparing to take down her opponent in a single blow. But in the next second, the man pulled her tightly into his embrace. Terrified, Ling Wan subconsciously clutched the man's robes. Where she couldn't see, the two men's eyes met. Xie signaled for the other to leave. The moment the door closed, he feigned a sigh of relief. Wifey, was that a bad guy chasing us? Ling Wan nervously motioned for him to lower his voice. That's a very bad man. He can't find us. They cautiously peeked out the door, trying to confirm if it was safe. Seeing no sign of movement, Ling Wan was about to turn and suggest they leave, but came face to face with the man's innocent gaze. Startled, Aki lost his balance. Overcome by gravity, his entire body fell onto Ling Wan. They could each feel the other's breath on their face. As their breathing quickened, both of their faces grew increasingly red. Faced with her soft, pink lips, the man couldn't resist the urge to steal a kiss. As the distance between them closed, but the woman turned her face aside. Chi, you're not being good. Realizing his gaffe, the man's heart tightened. He then feigned an innocent look. Mother said that when you're scared, a kiss makes it all better. Does my lady not like kisses? At this, Ling Wan was utterly speechless. What kind of nonsense had his mother taught him? Let me tell you from now on, you can't just kiss people. Kisses are for a woman you like. Then I can't kiss my lady? My mother said that once Achi has a lady, he can kiss her every day. Ling Wan was so stunned she was at a loss for words. Well, because Achi is still little. When Achi grows up, then you can kiss your lady. Hearing this, the man slowly placed a hand on his chest. Why does it feel so hot here? Achi understands. Achi will grow up very fast. Then I can kiss my lady and sleep with my lady. Ling Wan frantically waved her hands. The more she tried to explain, the more flustered she became. And no, that's not what I meant at all. Thinking she was corrupting a child, Ling Wan was on the verge of a breakdown. Oh heavens, I have sinned. Please forgive me. Little did she know, something that would shatter her even more was yet to come. The decisive and ruthless Prince Feng Pai was pretending to be a child with a mental age of 3. After discovering his wife was an assassin sent by his mortal enemy, He had once wanted to take her life to eliminate the future threat. However, the petite woman, who could barely protect herself, always shielded him. He looked at the woman before him, who had held a piece of firewood, guarding him all night. The man was deeply puzzled, but given his unique circumstances, even though the woman had made no attempt on his life, he reminded himself to stay on guard. He reached out, stroking the woman's hair. He took in her haggard face. "Why do you always protect me? What is it you truly want?" He gently murmured to Ling Wan, his tone softer than ever. Having been awake all night, the young woman wearily opened her eyes. But the moment she saw the man, her heart began to flutter wildly. Reverting to his chi persona, he playfully toyed with her hair. "My lady, the sun is up. Can we go out and play?" Ling Wan gave a quiet, awkward assent. But inside, a tiny version of herself raised an 8-meter-long sword and hacked away at her unruly heart. "Ling Wan, get a hold of yourself. He's just a child." Recalling her subconscious counterattack from the night before, she realized this body knew martial arts. Soon, Ling Wan changed her clothes, looking like a true martial artist. With a casual wave of her hand, a solid rock in front of her crumbled to pieces. She stared at her own hands in excitement. "This is great. I won't have to fear assassins anymore." She clenched her fists triumphantly. "T.O. kill one man at 10 paces, leaving no trace for 1,000 miles. Little prince, tell me, aren't you scared?" Achi obediently clapped and cheered. "My lady is so amazing. Praise to the heavens." Ling Wan was ecstatic. "Then let me show Achi my lightness skill." Little did she know, the prince's expression had already turned grim. He thought her display was a veiled threat. Are all women this fickle? The next moment, the man froze on the spot, a look of utter astonishment on his face. Gasps of astonishment erupted from the crowd. My goodness. Look at the princess consort. She's climbed to the very top of the mansion's roof. Standing at the peak, Ling Wan gazed into the distance. This is what it feels like to be the best in the world. "My lady, can you take Achi up to play?" "Sure. Once I've had my fun, I'll take you up." But in reality, realizing how high she'd flown, Ling Wan was so scared her legs went weak. This is terrifying. It's way too high. How did I use that lightness skill again? I'm doomed. I don't think I can get down. The bystanders sighed amongst themselves. Has the princess consort gone mad too? She probably caught it from the prince. Ha. She reminds me of a simpleton next door. Look, the fool is going to jump. Throwing caution to the wind, Ling Wan leaped. Achi stared blankly at the figure rapidly approaching from the sky, completely dumbfounded. Panicked, Ling Wan flailed her limbs wildly. "Danger! Get out of the way!" With a loud thump, the two of them tumbled and spun on the ground. Ling Wan scrambled up and anxiously asked if he was hurt. Achi pouted with a wronged expression. "Ow, Achi is in pain." In response, the woman cupped his face and gently gave him a kiss. Then, she waved her little hands in the air. Pain, fly away. Achi will be better soon." Her sweet, smiling face left the man completely captivated. He couldn't resist reaching out to caress her cheek. "How can I ever truly understand you? Or should I just kill you decisively?" At that moment, the woman turned and flopped lazily onto the ground. "Good thing you caught me, or I'd have been a goner." But having transmigrated here, she still couldn't get used to this body. That garbage system only appeared once before vanishing. And of all people, it chose a good-for-nothing like me to change the male lead's fate. This is so hard. A bitter feeling welling up, Ling Wan covered her eyes with her hand. "Aki, do you ever suddenly feel homesick? For a moment just now, I thought I was going to die. You know, right now, I really miss my mom and dad." I'm so stupid. Your home was always here." She raised her hand towards the azure sky, but everything she saw felt as unreal as a dream. She wished she could open her eyes and be back in the modern world. For a moment, her blue eyes were veiled by sadness. "I really envy you. You don't understand anything, so you're not even afraid when facing danger." What's the use of me telling you all this? It's not like you can understand. But when she came to her senses, she found the man looking at her with great seriousness. He raised his hand and caressed her hair. "It's actually nice to have someone listen to her talk." She sighed helplessly. "Aki, if only you were a normal person." Hearing this, the man's heart tightened. Could she have already realized that I'm pretending to be a fool? The next day, a discouraged Ling Wan attended the hunting event, feeling very conflicted. Just as she entered the grounds, the Empress sent someone to instruct her to cooperate with the secret guards in assassinating the prince. On the hunting grounds, any stray arrow could take Aki's life. Although her original body came with the cheat code of martial arts, she couldn't yet use it proficiently. If a real fight broke out, she'd have a hard time defending herself. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept past her. When she reached out and caught it, she realized it was Aki's tiger doll. On the other side, Aki, in his haste to dismount, accidentally fell and hurt his leg. "Aki, are you alright? Why did you suddenly throw the tiger at me?" Aki saw that my lady was unhappy, so I wanted to lend my lady the tiger. This was a gift from my mother. When my mother isn't here, the little tiger keeps Aki company, so Aki doesn't feel sad. Just as Ling Wan was about to say something, the man placed his fingertip between her brows. "If my lady is unhappy, it's Aki's fault. Aki doesn't want my lady to frown. My lady looks much prettier when she smiles." Ling Wan was touched by this sudden gesture, but thinking of the danger that lay ahead, she became deeply melancholic. She didn't know if she could successfully evade the Empress's assassins today. But the man was overjoyed at the sight of a bunny that Aki wants to catch that little white rabbit. That way, Aki has a little tiger and my lady has a little white rabbit. Then we could be happy every day. But just as the man turned, a stray arrow flew towards him. They're finally making their move. Pretending to chase the rabbit, he bent down and dodged it. An anxious Ling Wan rushed forward and pulled him up that you're about to lose your life and you still want a rabbit? She held the man tightly behind her. "Aki, do you remember the way to the main camp? I'll hold him off now. Wait for the right moment and run back to the camp, understand?" At this moment, however, the man remained vigilant. "Even now, you're still going to act in front of me." But everything that happened next was completely beyond his expectations. In secret, he was the decisive and ruthless His Highness, Prince Zhao. But in public, he was the foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. All because his sworn enemy had planted an assassin to be his wife. Just when he thought his wife would cooperate with his enemy to take his life, she jumped off a cliff to save him. Just moments ago, the two participating in the hunt were surrounded by the secret guards sent by the Empress. But Ling Wan had unhesitatingly rushed forward to buy him a chance to escape. "You fool, hurry up and run." But unexpectedly, another stray arrow flew from above. To protect Aki, Ling Wan lunged forward, her arm slashed by the sharp arrow, drawing blood. Xieqi looked at the woman shielding him, utterly astonished. But even though she was injured, Ling Wan, worried that Aki would be scared, still forced a smile that Aki, "Don't be afraid. I'm fine." However, Xieqi, who was at the cliff's edge, accidentally lost his footing. He stumbled and fell backward unexpectedly. As his body plummeted, Xieqi's heart sank. "This fool tripped me. I really acted like a fool." But to his surprise, Ling Wan leaped down after him without a moment's hesitation. "You are clearly the assassin sent by the Empress to kill me. So why, even now, are you still trying to save me?" Somewhere deep in the mountains, the two of them, washed ashore by a stream, were still unconscious. After a long time, Ling Wan slowly began to regain consciousness. After the two of them fell during the attack, they were caught by a tree branch on the cliffside, which is how they luckily survived. However, the tearing pain from her wound made Ling Wan tremble all over. To prevent the wound from getting worse, she slowly removed her outer garment and, with what little strength she had, tore off a piece of cloth and managed to bandage it with one hand. Beads of sweat covered his face from the intense pain. It looked like it was about to rain. She had to find shelter for herself and Aki. But after trying to wake him for a long time, the man showed no signs of stirring. So, Lin Wan had to summon all her strength and drag him forward. Having finally reached a cave, Lin Wan was exhausted. Drained, she was panting heavily. Without taking a moment to rest, she began to check the man's injuries. Fortunately, he hadn't hit his head, so his life probably wasn't in danger. But his leg was badly injured. Blood was constantly seeping from the broken skin. Lin Wan carefully bandaged the man's wound, her eyes filled with distress. At that moment, the man regained consciousness. The first thing he saw when he opened his eyes was the woman. He just couldn't figure out her motive. As an assassin sent by the Empress, she had first fought with the men in black and then followed him off the cliff. She clearly could have killed him while he was unconscious, yet here she was bandaging his wound. Lin Wan, by getting close to me, do you have some other objective? Although his right leg was injured, it just looked more serious than it was. Perhaps he could use this to test her. Reverting to his Aki persona, he weakly called out, "Wife." Seeing him awake, Lin Wan was overjoyed that you're finally awake. The man lifted his leg, a pained expression on his face. "Wife, my leg hurts so much." Lin Wan gently helped him up, letting him try to walk. But the man collapsed to the ground. "Wah, Aki can't move. Aki's leg is broken." Lin Wan gently pulled him in her arms. "Aki, don't be scared. Your leg only has a flesh wound. You just can't move it for now. It'll be okay. Once we leave, we'll find a doctor to treat it, and it'll get better soon. Aki's leg can't get out, but wife can leave this place." At this moment, the man began to test her, wanting to see what choice she would make. He then told Lin Wan that he knew the way out. Hearing this, Lin Wan was ecstatic. She never expected that in his dazed state, he would actually know the way to leave. "Mother brought me here before. If you just follow the stream towards the sun, you'll reach the hot springs on the back mountain of the Imperial Palace. Once you get there, wife, you can contact the people in the palace." Lin Wan's eyes lit up. "Great. Let's hurry over now while it's not raining." The man sneered inwardly. "Are you that eager to go and report to the Empress?" As the woman turned her back, he pulled a dagger from his robes. "Too bad you won't get the chance." Just then, thunder rumbled continuously in the sky. The sound made the woman seem to think of something. As she turned back around, the man quickly hid the dagger in his sleeve. Realizing the round trip would take a long time, Lin Wan began to worry about the man's safety. "Besides, it's getting dark soon. If I leave you here alone, you'll definitely be scared. I've decided. I'm not going now. Let's wait until dawn tomorrow and figure out a way to leave then." She then went to gather some fruit nearby, telling the man to wait obediently for her return. The man silently watched her every move from behind, but she did nothing other than pick fruit. He couldn't understand. This was a perfect opportunity, but not only did she not leave, she didn't even leave any secret signals for the Empress's people. For now, the man put the dagger away, wanting to see if she had any other motives. Just then, a downpour began. Lin Wan returned to the cave with a pile of dry firewood and fruit. Her thin clothes were soaked by the rain, clinging tightly to her skin. Seeing this, the man was momentarily stunned. Noticing his stare, Lin Wan flusteredly covered herself. Hey, don't you stare. I'm not. Mother said it doesn't count as staring if I'm looking at my wife." Flustered, Lin Wan tossed a fruit to him. "Hurry up and eat." But just as Aki was about to put it in his mouth, Lin Wan snatched it back from his hand. "That is wife angry? Are you not letting Aki eat the fruit?" Unexpectedly, Lin Wan cautiously took out a silver needle. "Looks like this fruit isn't poisonous. It's safe to eat." But to be safe, she pricked all the fruits with it. "All right, no problem now. Aki can eat." She handed one to the man while eating another herself. But the man just stayed there, motionless. "Why aren't you eating?" But the next second, the man snatched the fruit from her hand. He held her hand, bringing the fruit to his own mouth. "That wife's fruit is so sweet and delicious." Seeing this, a shy Lin Wan tossed the fruit to him. "Then just hold it and eat it yourself." Her face bright red. She turned away and muttered, "It's obviously so sour. How is that sweet?" The man, who saw everything, had a slight smile on his lips. If only he wasn't one of the Empress's people, how wonderful that would be. At this moment, Lin Wan was vigorously rubbing stones, trying to start a fire. The moment the flame ignited, Aki danced with excitement. "My lady, you're amazing. Someone will definitely see this and come rescue us." "Yes, if they can see the fire," the exhausted Lin Wan responded woodenly. But the next second, she got up and extinguished the fire completely. "Oh, I was so careless." Narrowly avoiding disaster, Lin Wan let out a long sigh of relief. "Thank goodness you reminded me, Aki. Besides our rescuers, the assassins will definitely see the firelight too. That was far too risky." Frightened, Aki curled into a trembling ball. But Lin Wan patted her chest, reassuring him, "Don't worry. I'm here. I will protect you." Unexpectedly, the man threw himself into her arms. "That Aki will protect my lady too." Looking at such a sensible Aki, Lin Wan felt a wave of melancholy. If the Empress's his assassins arrived before their rescuers, could they really escape? Sensing something was amiss, Aki looked up. What's wrong, my lady? Is your wound hurting? The young woman smiled and shook her head. I'm just a little tired. Let's get some rest. That way, we'll have the strength to leave in the morning. But just as the woman fell into a deep sleep, something unexpected happened. He was the peerless His Highness, Prince Zhao, but he deliberately pretended to be a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. All because his wife was an assassin sent by the enemy. Yet, not only did he not harm her in the slightest, he had also saved her from danger multiple times. Looking at the soundly sleeping woman beside him, the man was puzzled. She clearly had many opportunities to report back to the Empress, yet she had done nothing. At this moment, Lin Wan was trembling all over, constantly murmuring in her sleep, Aki, danger. Aki, run. Watching the woman curled into a ball, Xie raised his hand and slowly reached out. The moment he touched her forehead, he felt a burning heat. The woman let out a low moan, cold, so cold. Seeing this, the man got up and took off his outer coat and gently draped it over the woman. But just as he lay back down, Lin Wan turned over and snuggled up against him. Dad, Mom, I miss you so much. Watching the woman as tears streamed down her face, the man, feeling a pang of heartache, reached out and stroked her head. I want to go home. The woman's tears gradually soaked his collar. At that moment, a complex emotion flickered in the man's eyes. He slowly moved closer to the woman and pulled her completely into his embrace. Lin Wan, what are you thinking? How many more secrets are you hiding? The next morning, the man had held the woman all night as they slept. However, a sound from nearby startled him awake. They've caught up. At that moment, all over the forest sky, startled birds scattered and flew away. Several dark figures darted quickly through the woods. Just then, disturbed by the chaotic sounds, Lin Wan wearily opened her eyes. At this moment, her head felt heavy and her throat was so dry it felt like it was on fire. But when she saw she was lying in the man's arms, she was completely stunned. What is this situation? She shook her head frantically, trying to stop her wild thoughts. A bit weak, she swayed as she got up and woke Aki, who was still sleeping. Wake up, wake up. I think someone's here. The man, pretending to be asleep, had a relaxed expression. My lady, is it the people who've come to rescue us? Lin Wan looked anxiously towards the cave entrance. With a commotion this stealthy, it's most likely the assassins. She abruptly stood up, want to go out and check. But the pain in her head made her feel a wave of dizziness. Damn it, I can't get sick now. She turned and signaled for Aki not to make a sound, that she would go investigate the situation outside. Aki covered his mouth and nodded obediently. The assassins were now just 10 meters away. Although she had covered the cave entrance with weeds, if they conducted a thorough search, it was only a matter of time before they found it. Even though her original body possessed top-tier martial arts skills, she didn't really know how to use them. Just then, Aki's outer coat caught Lin Wan's attention. So she picked it up and put it on. Aki, I'm going to lure them away. You stay here obediently. No matter what happens or what you hear outside, don't come out. Hearing this, the man's heart tightened. He rushed forward and grabbed the woman's wrist. His eyes were full of worry. My lady, don't go. It's dangerous outside. For a moment, Lin Wan was stunned. Then she held the man's hand and promised, Aki, don't be afraid. Stay here and be good. I will come back alive for you. Her gaze sent ripples through the man's heart. He stared blankly in the direction she left. Why do you always have to rush to the front to protect me? He smelled the lingering scent on his hand. Lin Wan, could this be the last time we see each other? Meanwhile, Lin Wan, disguised as Aki, approached the assassins and deliberately threw a stone to attract their attention. Hearing the sound, the assassins turned to look, thinking the figure was the Xie they were looking for. Just then, Lin Wan quickly sprinted in another direction, but unexpectedly missed her footing. She unexpectedly slid down the slope. At the same time, the surrounding assassins rushed over. But as they prepared to strike, they realized this person was not Xie. The leader, Scarface, looked displeased and ordered Lin Wan to be captured alive. Under a series of attacks, the outnumbered Lin Wan was knocked to the ground. The next second, Scarface showed no mercy, stomping his foot on the woman's delicate hand and grinding it back and forth. Speak up, where is Xie? Lin Wan trembled all over from the pain, but she knew that if she fell into their hands, she would surely die. She had to think of a plan. Unexpectedly, the man roughly grabbed her by the hair and pulled her up. Just as her head was about to hit the ground, Lin Wan shouted, "I'll talk. I'll talk." Weak and defeated, with her head hanging low, her expression was unreadable. To go left for 500 steps. There's a hollowed-out tree. He's hiding there. Scarface pressed his dagger against the woman's face that you'd better not be playing any tricks, or I'll make you wish you were dead. In this state, how could I dare play any tricks? I'm already in your hands. I just want to suffer a little less. After a moment's thought, Scarface sent a few of his men to check. Meanwhile, Lin Wan was waiting for an opportunity. If she could split them up, she might have a chance to fight back when the remaining men let their guard down. Just then, a bird called from above. As the assassins looked up and around, Lin Wan, seizing the moment, went straight for a dynasty-ending kick. However, her body was too weak, and she lacked the strength for her lightness skill. Seeing this, Scarface immediately threw a dart. It hit Lin Wan squarely in the back. The exhausted Lin Wan instantly lost all her strength. I've run so far in the opposite direction of the cave, she thought, that I hope they don't find Chi. Losing consciousness, Lin Wan fell heavily to the ground. Just then, Scarface raised his large broadsword. Still dare to run? Then I'll send you to your death. He was determined to kill his own wife, for she was an assassin sent by his sworn enemy. Yet she had risked her life to save him. Just as the young woman was about to be struck down, a whistling sound sliced across Scarface's neck. The male lead's eyes, like hell itself, surveyed the scene. Accompanied by a series of blood-curdling screams, he sent the surrounding men to meet their maker. The men who had just returned were dumbfounded by the sight before them. "Who are you?" The man, his eyes bloodshot with killing intent, turned with a ferocious expression. "Weren't you looking for this prince? Well, I am right here." Seeing this, the men finally realized that, so, you've been pretending to be a fool all along. The man toyed with the dagger in his hand. Understanding this before you die means your lives haven't been a complete waste. The men exchanged glances. After all, they were numerous, and he was alone. What could he do? They immediately charged forward to kill him. You're nothing but a sneak attacker. How dare you be so arrogant? But in the next second, the boaster was permanently silenced. Another assassin tried a sneak attack from behind, only to be cut down by the arriving Li Shuang. "Your Highness," said Li Shuang, "by the time I arrived, the men on the other side of the woods have been dealt with." He glanced at Lin Wan, who was also one of the Empress's assassins. "How do you intend to deal with the princess consort?" Without a word, he tossed the dagger over. He carefully picked up the woman, returned to the manor. "Have Dr. Shen come in secret." Meanwhile, the Empress was furious upon hearing the news that I sent so many men, and they were all wiped out. "Investigate for me. Find out exactly who is helping him." Inside the prince's manor, the summoned Dr. Shun discovered Lin Wan's pulse was strangely abnormal. She had been poisoned with the 10,000 flowers poison. Seeing Dr. Shun's grave expression, Xie anxiously asked about her condition. Shen Song did not mention the matter of the 10,000 flowers poison. He only said that her external wounds were severely infected and her internal injuries had damaged her core vitality, but that he would do his utmost. As the last few silver needles were inserted, Lin Wan suddenly coughed up blood. Seeing this, the man's heart tightened. Handkerchief after handkerchief was soaked with blood. The woman's brows were tightly furrowed in agony, and with every pained expression, it was as if a sword was piercing the man's heart. "Your Highness need not worry. Her life is no longer in danger. She just needs some time to wake up." After a moment, Shan Song couldn't help but ask, "Your Highness seems to be very concerned for the princess consort's life." The man looked at the woman before him, who had risked her life to save him time and again. "You are mistaken, mister. She's my princess consort. Her life and death are for me to decide." Just then, Li Shuang rushed in and reported, "The Empress is thoroughly investigating this matter. I'm afraid it won't be long." But before he could finish, the woman's coughing was heard. Startled, Xie looked alarmed. He slowly lifted the woman up and wiped her clean. However, his master's every move left Li Shuang dumbfounded. But the matter was urgent, and he had to remind the prince again, "Your Highness, you escaped unscathed this time. The Empress will surely be suspicious and send people to investigate. Should we make some arrangements now?" However, the man did not reply. He simply took a clean handkerchief and carefully wiped his wife's mouth. With his eyes full of only his wife, he seemed to have blocked out all other information. "Your Highness." Li Shuang reminded him again in disbelief. Snapping back to his senses, the man was momentarily stunned. He then looked at Shun Song beside him. "That we do need to make some arrangements." "What do you think, Mr. Shun?" Since the Empress wants to investigate, then let her investigate thoroughly. I will find a suitable scapegoat for your highness. Then let's do as you suggest, mister. I trust you. Shinsong reminded him with some resignation. The path your highness walks is fraught with danger, like walking on thin ice. You must not speak so lightly of trust. This applies to me as it does to others. The man's brow furrowed as he asked what he meant. Ling Wan is one of the Empress's people. Your highness is well aware of this. Those who aspire to greatness must sever all unnecessary emotional ties. The hatred of the past is as vivid as yesterday. I hope your highness will focus on the bigger picture. The man's expression hardened. You don't need to remind me, mister. I will not spare anyone involved in the death of my mother empress. After everyone had left, the man looked at the woman in his arms and fell into deep thought. Although he kept telling himself to remain vigilant, the scenes of her protecting him were still vivid in his mind. She had jumped off a cliff for him. She had deliberately disguised herself as him to lure away the assassins. Even when facing death, she never gave away his location. A woman like that, even if his heart were made of stone, it would be completely melted by her now. The woman suddenly whispered softly, "Water, I'm so thirsty." But when the man tried to give her water, she didn't drink a single drop. The man was utterly speechless. Was she doing this on purpose? Helplessly, he poured the water into his own mouth, intending to feed her with his own lips. As their lips drew closer and closer, his heart began to beat wildly. Just then, the maid who came to deliver medicine happened to walk in and saw her master getting intensely intimate. Caught in the act, the man quickly pulled away. His flustered appearance made the maid blush with embarrassment. "Take good care of the princess consort. I have matters to attend to." The man walked to the door as if nothing had happened, but his face was red all the way to his ears. Half a month later, a recovered Ling Wan lay in bed, questioning her life. She had heard that all the assassins sent by the Empress had been dealt with, and Xie had returned to the manor unharmed. But she herself had nearly died back then. Could it be that someone was helping him? But if someone was helping him behind the scenes, why would they watch him get bullied in his own home? Could it be that this Xie was pretending to be a fool? Oh my God, if he's really just pretending to be a fool, then hasn't my recent behavior been utterly embarrassing? The more she thought about it, the more frantic Ling Wan became, rolling back and forth on her bed. She wished she could use a lie detector on him. Then she saw that the light in the man's room was still on. Unable to contain her curiosity, Ling Wan came up with a plan. "I'm going to find out if you're really pretending to be a fool." In secret, he is the incomparably brilliant Prince Zhao. In public, he is a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. Facing several top assassins, the young woman risked her life to create a chance of survival for the foolish prince. However, having survived the ordeal, she began to suspect that the dazed man in front of her was just putting on an act. To prove her suspicion, she went to the man's room. At that moment, Li Shuang, who was still discussing matters with the prince, felt his heart tighten. The man, however, was very calm and signaled for him to leave first. The moment the woman opened the door, Li Shuang silently leaped out the window and left. But when she didn't see the man on the bed, she instantly grew anxious. "Achi, where are you?" Thinking something had happened to him, her heart sank. Just then, the man silently walked out from behind the screen. "Wife, I'm over here." Exasperated, Ling Wan turned and rapped him on the head. "What are you doing hiding behind a screen so late at night instead of sleeping? I thought something happened to you. You scare me to death." Little Aki rubbed his hands together with a wronged expression. Sob. "Aki can't sleep. Aki saw that wife was here, so I wanted to play hide and seek with you." Hearing this, an idea instantly flashed through Ling Wan's mind. "Aki, if you can't sleep, how about I play a game with you that will help you fall asleep very quickly?" Then she took out a pendant and dangled it in front of the man. "Aki, just look at this and don't think about anything. You'll be able to sleep soon." A moment later, the woman tested him several times, but saw no reaction from him. It seemed she had succeeded, so she began to ask his name and age. But the man still answered that his name was Xie, and he was 3.5 years old. Ling Wan thought for a moment. "Then do you remember who saved you on the day of the hunt?" "Of course, it was my wife." When talking about his wife, the man's face was full of joy. "Then tell me, how did she bring you back to the manor?" "I listened to my wife and waited for her in the cave for a long time. Then Aki fell asleep. When I woke up, I'd already been brought back to the manor by my wife." "Did you not wake up at all while you were asleep? Or in a daze? Did you hear or see anything?" Of course not. Aki is very well behaved when I sleep. The man's earnest reply left Ling Wan very frustrated that I can't believe this. I actually believed a trick from the movies. Have I been infected by his foolishness? But my wife is a very special person, the man suddenly said. Hearing this, Ling Wan sat up straight. Could this method actually be working? At this moment, the man had a blissful expression that my wife is not like other pretty ladies. She eats very loudly, and the way she sits is incredibly commanding. Hearing this, Ling Wan was on the verge of a mental breakdown. Is this man complaining that I'm uncouth? But my wife is the most beautiful person I have ever seen in my life. She is the best person to Aki, beside my mother. Aki wants to be with my wife for the rest of my life. In the future, I want to be little Aki's father, with my wife as the mother. Hearing this, an extremely embarrassed Ling Wan pushed him away. Xie, what on earth are you thinking? Then she covered her face and shyly ran towards the door. The man, having finished his act, leaned back slightly, his gaze fixed on the direction the woman had left. I didn't expect my wife to get embarrassed so easily. Meanwhile, Ling Wan, who had returned to her bedroom, was too agitated to sleep. To regain the upper hand, she worked overnight, cutting fabric. Then, under the pretext of giving him a surprise, she brought the man over. With a countdown of 3, 2, 1, two unique and peculiar outfits were presented before them. The novel style was an eye-opener for the man. Completely different from the usual cumbersome long robes, the young woman delightedly showed off her creation to him. I made it myself. Wife, what is this? The shy little Aki put on a clueless look. These are clothes from my hometown, Ling Wan said, winking playfully. Then she gestured at the man, showing the effect. By the way, do you remember what happened that day after I lured the assassins away? How do we get back to the manor? What? Didn't my wife call for Aki to come back? The man's surprised expression screamed. I have no idea what you're talking about. Unable to get a straight answer, Ling Wan pouted. Why can't I find a single flaw in his act? Little Aki tilted his head, looking puzzled. Wife, what's wrong? Nothing. I was just thinking that if Aki wore this outfit, you would definitely be the coolest kid on the street. But inwardly, she was hoping he would show a clue, since modern attire would surely be unacceptable to a normal person from ancient times. But Aki didn't understand at all. What does coolest kid mean? The woman impatiently stuffed the clothes into his arms. That's not important. Aki, hurry up and change. I'll take you for a walk on the street. A moment later, with him in a suit and her in a mini skirt, the two, dressed in their couple outfits, looked at each other and froze on the spot. Ling Wan thoughtfully stepped forward to adjust the man's cuffs. Aki, you look much more handsome after putting this on, don't you? Little did she know, the man across from her was already captivated by the sight of her. In a flash, the two were on the street, being relentlessly criticized by passers-by. How scandalous. They must be out of their minds, making Ling Wan wish she could dig a hole and hide. However, the man seemed to be enjoying it. Wife, you're amazing. They're all looking at us. It must be because your clothes are so beautiful. Hearing this, Ling Wan was utterly speechless. If Xie is just pretending to be a fool, he could really win an Oscar. To her surprise, not only was the man shameless, but he also pulled Ling Wan along to buy Tonghalu. But Ling Wan, too embarrassed to lift her head, couldn't take it anymore and dragged the man back home. Having changed back into her original clothes, Ling Wan was in a terrible mood. I really just asked for that humiliation. Meanwhile, the man, having reverted to being Xie, listened expressionlessly to the news brought by Li Shuang. Mr. Shun, he already knows about you and the princess consort going out on the street. Sir believes that your highness should not allow the princess consort to act so recklessly. Sir also said that a few days ago, the empress summoned the princess consort, dismissed everyone, and they plotted in secret for a long time. He presumes the princess consort will make a move soon and urges your highness to be extra vigilant. The man let out a cold laugh. The Mid-Autumn Festival is approaching. It's time to prepare some fine wine for my princess consort. He was decisive, ruthless, and exceptionally intelligent. Yet he deliberately pretended to be a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. To test if the male lead was truly a man, the young woman poured out 100 proof liquor, tried to lure him into a trap. But in the end, she not only knocked herself out, but also took over the man's bed until dawn. Just a moment ago, Ling Wan, who had been trying to test if the male lead was faking his foolishness, was still racking her brains for a plan. But the next second, she ran into someone trying to take the wine from the residents. The formidable Ling Wan chuckled mischievously. She snatched the imperial wine from their hands. Ha ha, in wine, there is truth. Little Aki, I refuse to believe you can keep up the act this time. When the man saw the wine bowl that was bigger than his face, he almost buckled at the knees. The woman kept urging him to drink. Little Aki looked troubled. Mommy said children aren't allowed to drink alcohol. All who drink are bad children. So Aki can't drink. Completely wrong. Your mommy was talking about before marriage. After getting married, a husband who doesn't drink with his wife is the real bad child. Does Aki want to be a bad child? Little Aki shook his head vigorously, then picked up the wine bowl and drank it all in one go. To get the man drunk, she used a small cup and drank dozens of rounds with him. A moment later, the drunk Ling Wan was on cloud 9. Aki, stop swaying around so much after you sit down. The man, not the least bit drunk, gave a slight smile. It turned out that he had taken a sobriety pill beforehand. He got up and walked over to the woman. Aki wants to ask his wife a few questions. Will my wife tell Aki the truth? The tipsy Ling Wan patted her chest. The absolute truth? Whoever lies is a puppy. So, was my wife sent by the Empress? Yes. Hearing her answer, the man's expression darkened. The hand supporting her involuntarily tightened its grip. Did the Empress send you to my Zhao Manor to kill me? The woman paused for a moment, then admitted it again. The man suddenly felt a wave of sorrow. If so, why haven't you made a move against me yet? Because that is the Empress's goal, not my goal. I don't want to kill you. The man was a little confused why. The woman leaned in with a grin, playing with a strand of his hair. Maybe it's because you're too likable. That's why I want to protect you. After speaking, she burrowed herself into the man's arms. This was clearly not what the man had expected. Letting go of his resentment completely, Xiechi looked at the woman in his arms. Thank you for your honesty. Then, he carried her princess style to the bedroom. He gently placed the woman on the bed. Just then, a dark figure flashed outside the door. As Xiechi tucked the woman in, he tentatively called out, "My lady." After confirming she was sound asleep, he went to the backyard alone. Your Highness, Mr. Shun is already arranging for a scapegoat. By tomorrow, the Empress's investigation will be led there. The next morning, a groggy Ling Wan still showed no signs of waking up. Aki playfully leaned in and pinched her little nose. Suddenly awake, Ling Wan sat up abruptly. Did I black out from drinking? Amused, Aki giggled. Wow, my wife is awake. Full of morning grumpiness, Ling Wan flared up. You little brat, are you asking for a beating? Looking aggrieved, Aki curled up in a corner. But it was my wife who stole Aki's bed and slept in. Woo-woo. Ling Wan was instantly mortified. That I my drunken behavior that bad? Besides stealing your bed, I didn't do anything else I shouldn't have, right? Feeling guilty, she leaned closer. Aki, are you hungry? You should have some porridge to soothe your stomach after drinking. How about your wife makes some for you? But the man just pouted and turned away. Speechless with exasperation, Ling Wan thought, I guess I have to coax my own prince. Little Aki, do you want your favorite Tonghalu? Or how about your wife plays with a new toy with you? After several attempts, Ling Wan started to question her life's choices. Aki, what will it take for you to forgive your wife and eat something? Aki wants a present from his wife. Aki saw his wife secretly embroidering a little tiger and a little white rabbit. Aki wants that. Hearing this, Ling Wan breathed a sigh of relief. That was always meant for you. It's almost finished. Aki, be a good boy and drink your porridge. I'll go and continue working on it right now. At that moment, Ling Wan was busy with the embroidery in her hands under the lamplight. But halfway through, she sensed something was wrong. Last time she kicked Xiechi out, he lingered outside the door all night. How could he possibly stay mad at her for this long today? Unless he was deliberately trying to get me out of the way. To beat him at his own game, Lin Wan found a piece of cardboard and cut it into her silhouette. She then projected the shadow onto the window, pretending she was still working. Slipping away from the other side of the window, Lin Wan quietly went to the male lead's room. This time, I'll definitely expose you. Just then, Li Shuang, who had returned from scouting, reported that the princess consort had already left her room. HTTPS. The man looked at the silhouette in the room. You said she already left the room? How interesting. Li Shuang stood up, puzzled, and looked out the window. This subordinate clearly saw the princess consort leave before rushing back. Could it be that she has returned? HTTPS. Xiechi suddenly raised his hand, signaling him to be quiet. He then pointed towards the other door. The corner of a robe peeking out was clearly the princess consort herself, who had snuck in. Seeing this, the man gave a doting smile. HTTPS. He then asked Li Shuang, "How are things with Mr. Shun?" "It's been handled. A scapegoat for the assassins who tried to rescue the prince has been found. The Empress found the person herself. Even if she doesn't believe it, she has to drop it. Mr. Shun says the assassination attempt will soon be resolved and asks your highness not to worry." Mr. Shun's methods truly haven't disappointed me. He then nodded, dismissing Li Shuang. A moment later, after much hesitation, the woman finally opened the door. The man glanced out the window, then looked at the woman nonchalantly. "My dear wife, why are you back so soon? Are Ah Chi's little tiger and little bunny done laughing?" The woman lowered her head without a word. So, he had been pretending to be a fool all along. All of this was his scheme. But the poison in her body would take effect in less than half a month. If she couldn't complete the mission, the Empress would certainly not hand over the antidote. Right now, she could only take a gamble. "Xie, I heard your conversation just now. Actually, after we escaped the assassins, I began to suspect if you really had the mind of a 3-year-old. Thinking of her previous attempts to test him, Lin Wan gave a bitter smile. "You must have thought I was ridiculous back then, didn't you?" The man pointed at the silhouette in the room. "But your performance tonight was quite surprising. Ah Chi, what I want to say is, I'm not your enemy. I don't want to hurt you. You don't have to pretend to be a child in front of me." "Is that so?" In the dim light, the man's expression was unclear, but the heavy atmosphere made the woman's heart tighten. The man caressed her cheek, his cold eyes like those of a predator. "Then what will you do to make me believe you?" Lin Wan was incredibly nervous. "He's not planning to silence me for good, is he?" She swallowed hard. "Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it." Hearing this, the man leaned in close to her ear and whispered, "I want you." The man's words, "I want you," nearly scared the woman to death. As it turned out, she was an assassin placed by his side by a sworn enemy. And the male lead, who had been biding his time for years to get revenge, had been pretending to be a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old. Once the young woman confirmed the man before her was feigning foolishness, she confessed her identity. To prove she wouldn't harm him, she said she was willing to do anything for him. Unexpectedly, the man gave a devilish smile and leaned close to her ear. "Then I want you." His warm breath brushed across the woman's face. So nervous her face turned red. She squeezed her eyes shut, not daring to look at him. "This isn't right. I want you to massage my legs." The man took in her amusing expression. What was the lady thinking? At this moment, Xie looked at his wife with a doting expression, but Lin Wan's heart was already pounding with fear. Sitting beside him, she was even breathing cautiously. "You promise me. So no matter what I say next, you're not allowed to harm me." The man's expression changed as he raised an eyebrow. "Actually, I am Lin Shi, an assassin from the Feihua Pavilion. To force me to assassinate you, the Empress made me take the Wanhuawen pill, a poison that will kill me in a month. But even so, I never wanted to hurt you. You have to believe me." The man smiled faintly. "If you had truly tried, you would have been a corpse long ago." A chill running down her spine, Lin Wan touched her neck. "Because of my repeated failed assassination attempts, the Empress no longer trusts me. This time, she ordered me to investigate your background and the powers supporting you. If I fail again, I'll just be waiting for the poison to kill me. So, I want to form an alliance with you now. As long as I can get the antidote, I can in turn help you, becoming your spy by the Empress's side. I know you must have a way." The man gently lifted her chin and "My dear wife, that proposal sounds quite good. I've already revealed my identity. Why do you still call me wife?" The man withdraws his hand. His gaze shifts uncomfortably to the side. "I will find a way to deal with the 10,000 flower poison later, but you must follow my arrangements in all matters." The next day, Ling Wan, in high spirits, is walking down the street, but she discovers a notice posted on the city wall. The content on it leaves her utterly astonished. Is this the scapegoat Xie mentioned? Feeling down, she returns to the prince's mansion. Without a word, her brows are furrowed, her lips are sealed, and her face is full of anger. She's angry at how he could casually sacrifice another's life to protect himself. "My wife, what has made you so unhappy? Is it because you haven't seen your king for too long?" Ling Wan turns to ask him about the scapegoat, but the man calmly pours her a cup of tea. "This is new tea. My wife can have a taste. Is this how you handle things?" The woman's eyes are filled with fury. Why get so worked up? He's just an insignificant official. This one casual sentence completely enrages the woman. Just because he's insignificant, you use an innocent person's life to help you achieve your grand ambitions? Ling Wan, don't you think it's ridiculous for you, an assassin from the Flying Flower Pavilion, to say such things? Ling Wan abruptly stands up. "Xie, I am very disappointed in you. With that, she turns and leaves without a second glance. The man's hand, reaching out to stop her, freezes in midair. The words he wanted to say remain unspoken. He laughs bitterly to himself. And I thought you would be the one to understand me. At this moment, the system's alarm buzzes loudly, demanding that she continue to cooperate with the male lead to overthrow the Empress. Ling Wan, her head splitting with pain, weakly collapses onto Xie, who has rushed to her side. Ling Wan, are you all right? He gently helps the woman to a nearby chair. I'm fine, just a little dizzy. Ling Wan, you must know that if you want to live, you must make yourself stronger. If you are like an ant, you cannot hope to cling to life for long. That still doesn't give you a reason to slaughter the innocent. With a crack, the man shatters the cup in his hand. How do you know he is innocent? The man's action suddenly stuns Ling Wan. She couldn't be as ruthless as him. She gets up and rushes out the door. Xie, you don't understand. You simply don't have a heart. The man's injured hand is stained red with blood, but the pain in his heart is far more intense. I don't understand. Then who is there to understand me? For so many years, only my mother ever understood. From the day my mother passed away, my heart died with her. The man's clenched fist drips with blood, as if to remind himself to always remember the pain. Meanwhile, Ling Wan, having composed herself, suddenly feels a pang of regret. Great, now that the relationship is strained, how am I supposed to complete the mission? This stupid system. It doesn't even provide a character biography. How outrageous. But in the next second, the system suddenly comes online. It then begins to load the male lead's personal file. Originally, his life was happy and perfect. His parents were in love, and his mother's clan were all great generals in the army, with illustrious military achievements and high prestige. But because their merits overshadowed the ruler and even challenged imperial authority multiple times, they became a thorn in the emperor's side. Though he had always been forbearing for the sake of his wife and child, this weakness was exploited by consort Shenxi. She had the male lead's entire maternal clan exterminated, which ultimately led to the male lead's mother dying of depression. After that, little Xie ran a high fever for 3 whole days. When he woke up, the 8-year-old Xie began to feign having the mental capacity of a 3.5-year-old child to protect himself. The emperor, grief-stricken and gravely ill, was unable to manage state affairs. He thus made Chunxi the empress to rule in his stead, while Xie was enfeoffed as Prince Zhao and has lived outside the palace until now. The male lead story makes Ling Wan feel deep sympathy for him. She intended to go to the man's door to apologize, but she never expected that the drunken man would be even more terrifying. What is he trying to do? The woman opens her eyes and blushes beet red, and the man sleeping beside her is disheveled. This makes Ling Wan feel like she's going to lose her mind. It turns out that last night, Ling Wan, wanting to apologize, came to the male lead's door, only to find him drowning his sorrows in wine. Just as she was about to stop him, the man pulled her into his arms. The slightly drunk man's face was flushed. Wife, what brings you to my room so late at night? I'm sorry, I was too impulsive today. I apologize to you. The woman's eyes were full of remorse. Hearing this, the man's brow furrowed slightly. We've only just begun, and there's already such discord. This makes it very difficult for me to trust you, wife. Hearing this, Ling Wan's heart tightened. Then, what will it take for you to trust me? What will it take? The man suddenly pushes her down. Her hand, which wanted to struggle, was held down firmly. I believe that only by getting to know each other more deeply can we build trust. The next day, a scream echoed throughout the entire mansion. Ling Wan, having just woken up, frantically covered herself. She looked at the man who was still fast asleep, her face filled with horror. No way. How did I end up in bed with him? She tried hard to recall the events of last night. If she remembered correctly, this guy, for the sake of so-called trust, had actually pulled her into drinking and chatting with him until midnight. But regardless, it was incredibly awkward for a man and a woman to be sharing a bed. It was best to slip away as quickly as possible. But before she could take 2 steps, a large hand gripped her tightly. My lady, why not sleep a little longer? At that moment, Ling Wan's heart pounded and her face flushed, stunned by his impossibly handsome face. Even her breathing seemed to slow. She pulled her hand back and retreated awkwardly. I was just about to help your highness get ready for the day. Unexpectedly, her foot slipped on a wine bottle, and she was sent tumbling backward without warning. But the man lunged forward, and with a loud crash, they both fell to the floor together. The maids outside were startled by the commotion. His Highness and the princess are certainly full of energy this morning. In the pavilion, a sore Ling Wan was rubbing her neck. Are you all right? The man's sudden appearance made Ling Wan jump. Pouting because of her twisted neck, she mumbled. The man, however, thoughtfully handed her a bottle of medicinal ointment. This is excellent for sprains. Put some on, and the pain will go away. Thank you. This handsome and warm man made Ling Wan too shy to look at him directly, but her heart couldn't stop pounding wildly. The man leaned in, sitting in front of her. Accompany me out tonight. In the blink of an eye, they were in front of a building where heavily made-up women in vibrant clothes were soliciting customers. A stunned Ling Wan stared at the man. You actually brought me to a brothel? That's right. This is Chuanxiang Pavilion, the largest in the city. Without another word, he pulled the woman into a private room. The man's calm demeanor made this innocent girl from the 21st century sweat nervously. Unexpectedly, the man silently went to the door and locked it. Ling Wan was shocked into silence by this strange move. Agitated, she cursed him in her head. You bastard, if you dare come back, I'll kill you. But before she could dwell on it, the man went to the balcony on his own. Ling Wan, over here. Utterly confused, Ling Wan peeked out. The man had already leaped over to the adjacent balcony. Before she could speak, he motioned for her to be quiet and hurry over. Apprehensively, Ling Wan joined the man, listening to the hushed voices inside the room. Inside is the Empress's nephew, Chun Jiao. To bring down the Empress, we must start with the people close to her. But just then, a loose floorboard beneath them creaked. Hearing the noise, Chun Jiao rushed to the window, but saw no one. Still suspicious, he kicked down the locked door of the next room. Whoever is in there, get the hell out here. Putting on an act, Ling Wan let her robe slip off her shoulder, looking bashful. Oh, I'm so frightened. She then pulled down a curtain, hiding them both. How mortifying. The man's lips curled into a smirk. This woman was quite the actress. From behind the curtain, he spoke slowly. Who dares to cause a disturbance here? Our master is the Empress's nephew, Chun Jiao. I suggest you come out and apologize to Master Chun immediately. Chun Jiao. Do you really think your Chun family can run rampant without consequences? As he spoke, he intentionally revealed the token at his waist. Seeing the token, Chun Jiao's man tensed up. You're from the Li family? Since you know, you'd better scram. Knowing he was outmatched, Chun Jiao's man apologized profusely. The moment the door closed, he breathed a sigh of relief. How did we manage to run into the Prime Minister's son? Inside the room, the man calmly straightened his clothes as if nothing had happened. Still shaken, Ling Wan quickly stood up with her back to him. Where he had held her just now, her heart had nearly leaped out of her chest. She turned to steal a glance at him. Thankfully, he hadn't noticed. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly grabbed her hand. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Leaving, of course. Pulled into his arms again, Ling Wan blushed to the roots of her hair. Before she could process it, the man leaped down, carrying her. Caught completely off guard, Ling Wan screamed, burying herself in the man's embrace. A moment later, a terrified Ling Wan slumped to the ground. Your Highness, next time you jump off a building, could you please give a warning first? Amused by her reaction, Xie narrowed his eyes. For the number one assassin, Lin Shi, you're certainly afraid of a little jump. The woman waved her hands dismissively. Because I have a fear of heights. Hearing this, the man suddenly froze. An image flashed in his mind of the last time she'd saved him, the scene of her jumping off a cliff. Thinking of her man, a blush crept onto her face. He then told Lin Wan that the Empress's birthday was approaching. Tomorrow, Chun Jiao would be selecting talented people at his residence to perform at the palace. So, Your Highness, what do you plan to do? This will be up to you, my dear wife. Speechless, Lin Wan looked at the man who had reverted to his little Xie persona. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Prince Feng Bai, upon meeting a love rival, actually resorts to feigning foolishness to stake his claim. Just moments ago, the two arrived at the Chun residence in disguise to obtain evidence of the Chun family's corruption. Working together, they performed a disappearing act amidst the crowd's gasps of surprise. Lin Wan, who had vanished from the stage, had secretly made her way to the accounting room. Just as she was searching everywhere to no avail, she unexpectedly discovered a secret room. The records in the ledger inside astonished her. She never imagined that Chun Jiao's corruption was several times worse than she had thought. Unexpectedly, Chun Jiao's voice came from behind her. "Lord Shun, please wait here a moment. I'll go get what you need." In a panic, Lin Wan stuffed the ledger into her sleeve and hid in a cabinet. Just then, Shun Tsong, who was walking by, noticed at a glance that something was amiss. A slight smile played on his lips. "Lord Chun, you don't mind if I take some tea from your cabinet, do you?" After receiving permission, the man walked towards the cabinet. The moment he opened the door, he recognized Lin Wan. The man didn't say a word. He simply took out a container of tea and tucked the corner of her robe back inside. Only after confirming the two had left did Lin Wan breathe a sigh of relief. Now walking down the street, she was about to head to the woods to meet up with Xie Qi. Suddenly, she heard the sound of urgent hoofbeats from not far away. In the scattering crowd, a child accidentally fell to the ground. Just as the horse was about to hit him, Lin Wan leaped forward and snatched the child out of the way. She gently comforted the frightened little boy. Just as the rider was about to turn and leave, Lin Wan stepped forward, blocked his path, and demanded he apologize. Seeing this, the man's face filled with disdain. He then raised his long whip, intending to leave. However, the moment the whip was raised, she grabbed it tightly. Losing his balance, he fell from the horse, landing perfectly in a half-kneeling position on the ground. Unexpectedly, the crowd suddenly stirred. The royal guard was coming. Fearing her identity would be exposed, she had no choice but to let it go and quickly leave the scene. Meanwhile, as the man got up, he turned to look at the frightened mother and child. Without a word, he mounted his horse. He then threw down a bag of money and left without looking back. Elsewhere, Lin Wan, having arrived at the meeting point, was looking around for her man. Little did she know, a certain someone was lying on a tree branch, dotingly watching her every move. With a thud, the man suddenly appeared before her, startling Lin Wan so much she stumbled backward. Unexpectedly, she stepped on a branch. Fortunately, just as she was about to fall, the man caught her firmly. Lin Wan looked up at the man, holding her protectively in his arms. Her racing heart made her face flush red again. "Did you find the ledger?" The man's deep voice pulled her back to her senses. Flustered, she quickly took out the ledger. Here it is." Looking at the ledger, the man's expression turned extremely grim. He immediately ordered Li Shuang to hand the evidence over to Shen Kong. Only then did Lin Wan realize that the man in the secret room earlier was one of Xie Qi's men. Just as she was about to ask if they were returning to the residence, the man, noticing something was wrong, pulled her into his arms and hid. At that moment, the rider was looking around as if searching for someone. Seeing this, Lin Wan was puzzled. Why did he follow me here? Hearing this, Xie Qi was surprised. "You know him?" After listening to Lin Wan's account, Xie Qi, who knew the other man's character well, had a bad feeling. In response to Lin Wan's confusion, he explained that this man was none other than the son of Empress Chun. However, as their eyes met, they both found themselves in a strangely awkward situation. "I have an idea. We just need to use the act you're best at." At this, Xie Qi, pretending to be a fool, ran ahead playfully to, "I want to catch that big white rabbit." And Lin Wan, feigning anxiety, chased after him. "The little rabbit is gone, Sob. It's all right, my dear husband. Come home with me. I'll make one for you, okay?" This harmonious scene was witnessed by Prince Yu. This woman turned out to be Xie Qi's wife. At that moment, Lin Wan pretended to be surprised and turned around. "How is it you again? I was lucky enough to let you go just now, yet you dare to follow us." The man frowned and snorted coldly, about to turn and leave. "And why, dear, who is that?" "Oh, he's a bad guy." The husband and wife, playing along with each other, deliberately raised their voices as if afraid the other man wouldn't hear. At this, Lin Wan burst out laughing. "That guy is so easy to fool." "Shh, be quiet. He hasn't gone far." The man looked at his wife with a doting expression, but the next second, afraid of being discovered by others, Lin Wan pulled him away. The man looked at the woman who always stood by his side, lost in thought. What kind of person is my wife, really? Meanwhile, Chen Jiao was still enjoying his fine wine. He was soon arrested by the Ministry of Revenue and thrown into prison. This news quickly reached Prince Yu's ears. That idiot. Just let him fend for himself. Right now, I just need you to investigate one person for me. That is Xie Qi's wife, Lin Wan. At this time, the Empress, who had also received the news, was furious. She never expected her nephew to be so stupid as to embezzle from the national treasury in her name and even leave behind evidence. Shen Tsung stepped forward and reported that he had already handled the matter properly so that it would not implicate the Empress. However, he feared Chun Jiao himself could not be saved. The Empress had long since stopped caring about his life or death. However, the Imperial Guard had always been under Chun Jiao's command. Now, she needed a trustworthy person to fill this vacancy. Shen Tsung stepped forward and recommended himself, pledging his unwavering loyalty to her. However, the Empress had long known that he and Xie Qi were close friends. In order to uncover the power behind them, she appointed him commander of the Imperial Guard, quietly waiting for the big fish to take the bait. Meanwhile, the two walking down the street noticed someone was following them. The man playfully grabbed Lin Wan. How about we guess who sent them? He then pulled Lin Wan and ran deep into the crowd. Just as the man was searching everywhere for the two of them, Lin Wan sent the opponent flying with a combination of punches. Just as Lin Wan stepped forward to ask who had sent him, something unexpected happened. He is the exceptionally valiant Prince Zhao, who deliberately pretends to be a foolish prince with the intelligence of a 3-year-old in public. But in order to save his wife from danger, he decided to reveal his true self in front of the enemy. Just moments ago, Lin Wan, having learned she was being followed, sent the opponent flying several meters with a palm strike. But just as she was about to force him to reveal the mastermind, the man threw a smoke bomb and fled the scene. Lin Wan wanted to give chase, but was stopped by Xie Qi. Don't chase him. I already know who sent him. But when he turned back, he found that the smoke had gotten into Lin Wan's eyes. He gently cupped her face. Don't rub them. Let me blow on them for you. However, the woman's delicate face made him freeze on the spot. Blushing, he quickly turned his back and held out his hand. QM, you should probably wipe them yourself. A bewildered Lin Wan squinted her eyes. This man teasing me. With teary eyes, she asked who the follower really was. The blushing man didn't answer, only telling her to go somewhere with him that night, and then she would know. That night, the two snuck into the palace, carefully avoiding all the guards. Facing Lin Wan's confusion, Xie Qi smiled slightly. We're here to steal a person. Steal a person? Oh my God. At a time like this, how can he still be in the mood to make such a joke? The man was seen twisting a switch in a very inconspicuous place. He explained that the man who followed them during the day was one of Shen Tsung's men. He had made an agreement with Shen Tsung long ago, and everything that had happened was just an act for the Empress to see. Following closely, Lin Wan walked into the secret passage. She just felt that she could understand Xie Qi less and less. How many more secrets was he hiding? At that moment, a woman in a black robe was sitting in a corner. The dim light prevented Lin Wan from seeing her face clearly. I heard you want to see me. Have you thought it through? Yes. Here is next month's antidote. Take it. Xie Qi passed the antidote to Lin Wan. Here, my dear, it's time for your medicine. The woman gave a cold laugh. Oh, it's true. You refuse to kill the Empress for her sake. The reason I won't kill the Empress, Lin Wan, is only part of it. More importantly, what I want is not just her fear of death, but her repentance for the dead. So, can we cooperate now? Then I shall wait and see. The woman slowly raised her head. In the flickering light was an all-too-familiar face. At that moment, Lin Wan wore a terrified expression. How could you be the Empress? It turns out this person is the real Chun Si. The one outside was her younger sister, Chun Yin, who had been impersonating her all along. Chun Si, who had always been close to her sister, never expected this. Her sister was so ruthless. Not only did she poison her and impersonate her, but she even imprisoned her in a dungeon with no hope of escape. Her newborn child was also taken away. It's time to settle this 18-year debt. On the day of the Empress's birthday celebration, guests from all walks of life gathered outside the main hall. Xie Yu, who was there to celebrate his mother's birthday, approached Lin Wan. That we meet again. I didn't expect the princess consort to know martial arts. Haha, and I didn't expect the prince to be so arrogant. Lin Wan watched the man's retreating back. Your brother has a strong presence. He seems much more capable than you. Hearing this, Xie suddenly leaned close to her ear. While I can't compare to him in that regard, I'm better than him in other areas. Do you want to know what they are? The woman panicked inwardly. Why is this guy talking so close to me? You see, I'm very good at pretending to be a fool. The woman thought, is that something to be proud of? Inside the main hall, Chen Yin, disguised as Chen Si, looked down on everything. She had long grown tired of the title Empress. After the 7th month, she would become the first female emperor of the Qin Kingdom. By now, the entire palace, inside and out, had been filled with her people, and the real Chen Si, whom she had imprisoned beforehand, had no way of getting a message to Xie. This time, she planned to wipe them all out, leaving no one behind. Just then, chaos erupted outside the hall. A sudden fire gave Chen Yin a bad feeling, but when she tried to retreat, her path was blocked by a falling pillar. Seeing all her men collapse, she realized the smoke was poisoned. That's right, the smoke is poisoned. It only affects those who use their internal energy. Chen Yin heard a voice and looked over. You really were pretending to be a fool. I had planned to kill you today. I didn't expect you to walk right into my trap. Xie held a dagger to her. Your Majesty, the Empress, even at a time like this, you're still dreaming of becoming a female emperor. Shen Xianxing willingly acted as the wife on the surface to create confusion. In reality, the few trusted maids closest to you have long been my people. Your Majesty, the Empress, your plan has failed. But Chen Yin, who had plotted for years, refused to accept reality that I clearly already control. Are you trying to say you control the entire Qin Kingdom? Your Majesty is so clever. You should be thinking about who gave me this power and helped me plan. The woman suddenly laughed hysterically. Even if you kill me, my forces will grind you to dust. Don't forget, I still have Xie to avenge me. The man withdrew his hand that I won't kill you, because I want you to suffer a fate worse than death. A slight smile played on the man's lips. Chen Si, oh no, I should say Chen Yin. Why don't you turn around and see who's behind you? Breaking out in a cold sweat, Chen Yin roared. Why are you here? Aren't you afraid? I'll kill Xie. Her wound touched, Chen Si grabbed her, her eyes filled with hatred. Sister, you can't do this. You're still afflicted by the poison I gave you. So are Xie and His Majesty. You can't kill me. Chen Si suddenly released her grip. Of course, I won't kill you. After all, death would be too easy for you. Chen Yin, having lost everything, tried to struggle, but was knocked unconscious by a single blow from Xie. It's time to settle every single one of these debts. He then stood up and looked at Chen Si. The 10,000 flowers poison that Chen Yin planted, are you sure you can cure it? Of course. After this fire, I can be myself again, and those forces will naturally become my forces. With that, she turned and walked into the heart of the flames without looking back. Xie held back Lin Wan, who wanted to stop her. This is a path she must walk. If she doesn't endure some hardship, how can she explain this sudden change? After carrying Chen Yin out and cleaning up the scene, Xie, along with Lin Wan, pretended to be victims and walked out of the hall. Xie, not seeing his mother, rushed into the sea of fire without hesitation. Seeing this, Lin Wan felt a pang of pity. Not only had Xie mistaken an impostor for his mother for years, but he had also been poisoned by this venomous empress. Even now, he still didn't know the truth. She looked at Xie, who was still pretending to be unconscious in her arms. Why do I find him harder and harder to understand? I feel so distant from him. The mad prince pretended to be a foolish child with the intelligence of a 3-year-old. Facing his love rival, he activated his wife protection mode by playing dumb. At this moment, a young woman stood outside the imperial court with a worried expression. But the man, after finishing the morning court session, was clutching his head, looking aggrieved. Just now, the long-ailing emperor announced that from this day forward, the affairs of the state will be jointly managed by the two brothers. Despite a chorus of opposition in the court, the emperor, who favors Xie, insisted on this decision. Seeing Xie, Lin Wan happily waved at him, and upon seeing her, he also beamed with joy. Great. Wifey has come to take Aki home. Lin Wan was utterly speechless at the sight. This guy was starting to play dumb again. Xie stepped forward with a doting expression, just about to have a moment with his wife. Xie rushed up to her, calling out Lin Wan. This sudden address left Lin Wan momentarily stunned. You should call her princess consort or sister-in-law, not by her first name. I'll call her whatever I want. Little Aki let out a tiger-like growl. Only Aki can say wifey's name. No one else is allowed. Hearing this, Seiyu was completely speechless that Aki is so childish. He probably doesn't even know what a husband and wife are. Of course, Aki knows. Aki and wifey sleep together. Mother said only husbands and wives can sleep together. Do you think I believe that? Stop deceiving yourself. Everything Aki said is true. You're just a toad lusting after my swan-like wifey. Shame on you. Hearing this, Lin Wan stood by helplessly. Aren't these two childish? Xie wrapped an arm around Lin Wan. Oh my. If we don't go home now, we'll be late for sleepy time. Wifey, let's go. On the way back, Xie's expression was blank, but Lin Wan was puzzled. Where is that Empress Jia now? What's your plan going forward? Why don't you tell Xie about his mother? He seemed a bit displeased that you're very concerned that I'm hiding it from him. Do you pity him? No, I just think. But before she could finish, he cut her off that, do you think I'm more sinister and cunning than him? He happens to be following right behind us. If you feel so sorry for him, why don't you go and tell him? Lin Wan was about to explain when Seiyu walked over. Lin Wan, why were you at the shop yesterday? Lin Wan explained it was the Empress's order. Little Aki chimed in. He added, right after we went there yesterday, a lot of people died. Hearing this, Seiyu was perplexed. Was it really Mother who did it? Aki stepped forward, blocking the way that you're not allowed to stare at my wifey. Seiyu sternly told him to move aside, but the goofy little Aki resolutely refused. Lin Wan watched speechlessly as the two tall men faced off. What is this scene of petty squabbling? One is an eyesore, the other is a genuine fool, not wanting to get involved. Lin Wan was about to slip away, but Aki grabbed her. Wifey, where you going? Don't you want Aki anymore? This pitiful act left Lin Wan utterly exasperated. Suppressing her anger, she forced a smile that of course not. Aki, you've misunderstood. I would never leave you. He held her hand tightly. Then, Aki, can go back and sleep with wifey, okay? Furious, Lin Wan screamed internally, sleep my foot. Unexpectedly, Seiyu suddenly spoke up. Lin Wan, don't you want the antidote for the Manhwa poison? Hearing this, Lin Wan's heart tightened. He actually knew she was poisoned. He tossed out, if you want the antidote, follow me, and turned to leave. Little Aki held on to Lin Wan, refusing to let go. Aki wants to go too. Aki wants to go too. The three of them arrived outside a large building. Lin Wan was puzzled. How did you know I was poisoned? I had people investigate. Right, this guy. To say something like that so openly. Little Aki put on a scared expression. Wifey, don't go. Don't go with the bad man. My dear prince, you're overacting a bit. However, when Lin Wan opened the door, she saw a man in black bullying an old man. Hearing the noise, the man stopped what he was doing. Before Lin Wan could react, the other party threw a sharp blade. The sharp blade grazed the woman's face and flew directly towards the two bickering brothers. Fortunately, the two of them were alert and quickly dodged it. The man in black with the old man took the opportunity to escape through the window. Xie rushed forward and grabbed Lin Wan, who was about to give chase. Wifey, don't you want Aki anymore? Xie watched him escape and said there was no need to pursue. Lin Wan anxiously asked who the two were, but Xie said he didn't know. Xie, however, looked at his wife with concern. Wifey's face is hurt. Lin Wan rolled her eyes. Are you addicted to this act? The man's eyes suddenly turned fierce. The person who hurt you must die. Lin Wan stood there, stunned. At that moment, Seiyu stepped onto the windowsill, preparing to leave. That I will find the antidote myself. Xie turned to look at him. Why is the prince of you leaving so soon? This play wouldn't be as exciting without you. Seeing this, Lin Wan was completely bewildered. Does he even know what he's saying? Seiyu was utterly astonished. You really were pretending. The man instantly switched back to his little Aki persona. I always suspected you were feigning foolishness. I never thought you were actually deceiving the emperor. The man, with a look of childlike innocence. What is deceiving the emperor? My lady taught me to speak like a grown-up to avoid being bullied. Are you teaching me to deceive the emperor now? Seiyu looks speechlessly at Ling Wan. Overwhelmed, Ling Wan breaks into a cold sweat under his gaze. Yes, it's all my fault. I didn't teach him well, so that's how it is. Seiyu lets out a helpless laugh. Little Aki blinks his big, innocent eyes. Did Aki say something wrong? Ling Wan smiles dotingly that Aki did nothing wrong. Whatever Aki says is right. Unexpectedly, the man sounds more and more aggrieved as he speaks. It's all because Aki is stupid. Aki said the wrong thing that day. That's why the Empress wanted to burn Aki and my lady to death. Hearing this, Ling Wan instantly freezes. Hey, I don't know anything about that. Hearing this, Xiaoyu looks at the two of them. The fire that day was set by my mother herself. Yes, the Empress started the fire herself. It was a huge fire, and she killed many people. Ling Wan is stunned, speechless by the man before her. This guy is really getting into his role. But in the next second, something unexpected happens. He was a decisive and ruthless man. But after meeting her, his world was no longer filled with only hatred. He was even willing to give up everything for her. Just now, the group, seeking the antidote for the female lead, arrived at a villa. But in the next second, several darts fly towards the three of them, followed by a giant boulder rolling after them. The three flee in a frenzy. They finally stop in a secret chamber, and all the traps just now were clearly meant to lead them here. The moment they open the door, a masked man is sitting there. Your Highness, Prince Yu, you are indeed wise. The Empress's efforts to cultivate you were not in vain. But in the next second, a giant iron net falls from above, trapping them. The man frowns slightly. You deliberately leaked the news of the 10,000 flowers poison to me, only to prepare these crude tricks? Your Highness is a smart man. As long as your Highness kills that woman, you will get what you desire. Hearing this, Xieqi steps forward to shield the woman. You are not to harm my lady. Xiaoyu scoffs, I am not foolish enough to come here unprepared. From the moment you set this trap, you were already a dead man. Xieqi looks at his younger brother in disbelief. Since when did he become so cunning? Your Highness, Prince Yu, what a brilliant strategy. You deliberately brought Prince Zhao and the princess consort with you. You must have guessed long ago. Who set this trap? It's not hard to figure out. Regardless of whether Xieqi is truly a fool or just pretending, he is the only one who can threaten the Empress's position today. So from the very beginning, your target was me, wasn't it? At this moment, the iron net trapping them slowly rises. Prince Yu, what courage. Xiaoyu looks behind him. I am first and foremost Prince Yu of Qing, and only then the Empress's son. I know what I must do. The man in black relays his orders. If Prince Yu does not take this opportunity to move against Prince Zhao, then give the antidote to his Highness. Xiaoyu turns and tells the man, my past tolerance was for the sake of protection. Now, there is no one left who needs my protection. After Xiaoyu leaves, the man removes his mask, revealing his true face. Be why His Majesty's order. I have been waiting for you here, Your Highness. But Xieqi expresses that he only wants to leave with Ling Wan right now. Guard Long frowns slightly. Yes, Your Highness, going to forget the Yuan family's blood feud, and forget His Majesty's years of endurance and humiliation, all for Ling Wan. You are mistaken, sir. Aki has never for a moment forgotten the Yuan family's feud or my imperial father's suffering. For more than a decade, Aki has feigned madness. People say Aki is lucky, but Aki knows that Guard Long has been secretly protecting me all these years. Aki dares not forget. At this, Ling Wan is utterly dumbfounded. So Xieqi's backer was the emperor all along. Guard Long explains that the reason His Majesty wants the two brothers to govern together is, 1. He fears the ministers will not be convinced, since in everyone's eyes, he is still the mentally deficient, foolish prince. And 2. He hopes to stabilize the Empress's power this way. He then orders his subordinate to bring the antidote for the 10,000 flowers poison. At a glance, Ling Wan recognizes that this was the man who was following her that day. No wonder Xieqi was so calm back then. They were working together all along. Regarding Prince Yu's poisoning, His Majesty also just found out. As the Empress is treacherous, His Majesty wanted to use this as a ploy to lure him out. If Prince Yu had made a move, he was to be killed without mercy. Hearing this, Ling Wan's heart sinks. The Emperor was ruthless enough to want to kill Xiaoyu. But then the man continues. Although His Majesty understands that Ling Wan was previously constrained by the Empress, he still hopes. The man forcefully cuts him off. Aki thanks his imperial father. As for the rest, Aki has his own plans. There are some things Aki will not compromise on. Please go back and relay this to my father emperor. The cold-faced prince turned around with a doting expression. Lin Wan, eat up. From now on, you no longer have to worry about your life. Seeing the woman take the antidote, the man could finally breathe a sigh of relief. No matter what, I will protect you. After returning to the manor, Although Xie appeared as cold as before on the surface, his heart was completely different. Your Highness, we must cut the weeds and pull out the roots. I believe we should kill the poisonous empress directly. But Xie interrupted him, stating that his decision would not change. But as a descendant of the Yuan family, Xie's cousin, Shun Tsong, was still unwilling to accept it. After all, only by executing the poisonous empress can they give Wang Ren justice. But Xie was unwilling to argue further. Lin Wan is still waiting for me. I won't chat any longer with you today, sir. At this moment, Lin Wan, waiting outside, was feeling melancholic. She originally thought she was the one protecting Xie, but in reality, he had been protecting her all along. Now that he has control of the situation, he probably won't need me anymore to "My lady, why are you spacing out again?" Under the glaring sun, the man's figure seemed particularly hazy. He took her hand to go home. She wanted to remember every beautiful moment, because once the system's mission is complete, she will have to return to the modern era. And by then, all she'll have left are these memories. At this moment, from a corner, Shun Tsong silently watched everything. Ever since the prince met her, everything had changed. The next day, while Lin Wan was waiting for Xie outside the palace, playing around out of boredom, Xie unexpectedly came up behind her. He handed her the antidote for the 10,000 flowers poison. Although my mother is currently unconscious, given her nature, she will never let this matter rest. Take this antidote and be more cautious in the future. Unexpectedly, Xie suddenly appeared. Aki saw it again. Little brother is trying to steal Aki, yes lady. Little brother is so bad. He then took his wife's hand and his Aki got lost. From now on, Aki will hold my lady's hand, so I won't have to make my lady wait. Lin Wan returned the medicine box to Xie, saying she already had an antidote. But in the next second, the system's voice echoed in her mind. The intense pain caused Lin Wan to faint again. Faced with the demand to return to the modern era, what will she do? The girl who traveled to ancient times is required to return to the modern era after completing her mission. But having fallen for the male lead, she no longer wants to go back. However, if she refuses, she will die here in 24 hours. Faced with the unconscious girl, Xie's heart sank to the depths. Even the physician couldn't find the reason for her fainting. Meanwhile, Shun Tsong, who saw Lin Wan as a thorn in his side, was secretly pleased. Lin Wan is an assassin sent by the poisonous empress. She cannot be kept, but the male lead couldn't stand hearing anyone speak ill of Lin Wan. She is my princess consort. She has saved me from danger multiple times. If I were to abandon her, that would truly disappoint the world. Unconvinced, Shun Tsong wanted to say more, but he was sharply cut off by Xie. That day, Mr. Shun, you clearly knew the princess consort was poisoned by the 10,000 flowers, yet you did not report it to me. I hope something like this does not happen a second time. But Shin Song insisted he did nothing wrong. Since she was sent by the enemy, she cannot be allowed to stay by your highness's side. At this, Xie was thoroughly enraged. In the past, present, or future, Lin Wan is my person. There are still external matters that require your attention, sir. In the coming days, unless summoned by me, you need not come to the manor. The man came to Lin Wan's side, his entire being filled with unease. As long as she could wake up, he was willing to be her little fool forever. Even if it meant giving up his hatred, giving up his power, he was willing. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Wan awoke from her dream and saw the man keeping watch by her side. I think I heard someone say they would rather give up power and revenge. The man was just about to say something, but was interrupted by Lin Wan. Listen to me. Although I wish you were Aki, I know even better that you're Xie. The man was a bit flustered. What are you trying to say? Knowing she was about to leave, Lin Wan forced a smile. I want to say that no matter who you are, I like you. The man, inwardly ecstatic, blushed to the tips of his ears. Lin Wan's sweat dropped. What are you blushing for? A moment later, Lin Wan looked reluctantly at the man who pretended to be a fool for her. If I disappear, will you still be as happy as you are now? Scattered petals drifted down with the wind, just like her heart at this moment. Not knowing where to go. What's wrong, my lady? Is something on your mind? Lin Wan stared at the man before her. She knew he was playing dumb, but she couldn't help but be captivated by his innocent act. If something is on your mind, my lady, you can tell Aki. Knowing full well her time was short, Lin Wan slowly raised her hand and grabbed his ear. You've taken this foolish act too far, don't you know? The man smiled dotingly. It's been a while since I've acted this way in front of you, my lady. I'm getting a bit rusty. After speaking, he immediately switched to his scheming mode that if my lady doesn't like Aki, I can try a different persona. Startled, Lin Wan was momentarily stunned. And no, that's all right. She recalled the conversation they had while he was unconscious. Lin Wan tried to reason with herself that he's only protecting me like this because he won't allow anyone to defy him. It's not because he cares about me. Yes, that must be it. But the next second, she completely broke down. What do I do? What do I do? I can't convince myself at all. Sobs. Because the system instructed her to return to the transmigration point to cross back. The young woman found an excuse and prepared to head out. But in the next second, an arrow shot past her. Only then did she realize the entrance to the prince's mansion was surrounded by heavily armed soldiers. No way. I was only unconscious for a day. Did Xie fall from power this quickly? Seeing the large, sword-wielding man getting closer, a terrified Lin Wan immediately turned and shut the main gate. She couldn't understand. Wasn't the poisonous empress already captured? Could the new empress have turned on them? Just as she was about to find the man to demand an explanation, he ran over, feigning innocence and waving a small toy tiger. Stop playing this foolish game. I'm tired of it. My lady gets tired of things so quickly. Ever heard of being fickle? All right then, since my lady is tired of it, I'll stop playing dumb. Lin Wan was driven mad by his cuteness. You're not playing dumb now, are you? But you're still trying to act cute with me. Good heavens, what's the difference? The thought of her imminent return to the modern world greatly troubled Lin Wan. That you're under house arrest, don't you know? The man gave a wicked smile. That my lady worried about me? The real show is just getting started. The Empress was burned in a fire and is unconscious, and I'm the prime suspect. If the Empress isn't a mere figurehead, how will the hidden forces ever trust him? Only then did Lin Wan realize this was all part of his plan. Facing the astonished Lin Wan, the man once again switched back to being little Aki. Does my lady think Aki is cruel and ruthless? Compared to the scheme you just laid out, the way you switch expressions is what's truly terrifying, okay? The man gave a silly smile. But my lady likes it this way, doesn't she? At that moment, in the mansion's courtyard, the man was actually playing hide-and-seek with Lin Wan. Why is it that when you hear me count to 3, you instinctively want to hide? Who am I? Where am I? Why am I playing such a childish game? Just then, the system warned that only 8 hours remained until transmigration. Now that the prince's mansion was completely surrounded, she had to find a way to escape. But why do I feel a strange sense of pride hiding here? Unexpectedly, the man's sudden appearance startled Lin Wan, making her jump. Holding candy, Aki danced with joy. But the sight of the candy left Lin Wan stunned. You just snuck out to buy candy? That's right. Even though we have to trick the Empress's people, it's still quite simple to get out. Hearing this, Lin Wan flew into a rage. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Why didn't you say so earlier? I must have been poison stupid to believe him when he said he likes every side of me. Xie is a little devil, but Aki isn't even a real person. Sobs the young woman grabbed the man, begging him to take her out. But the next second, as he crawled toward the doggy door, she was bewildered. You're not tricking me, are you? You're gonna go out through a doggy door? The man behind her had an innocent look on his face that, of course, I'm using Qin Gong to get out. Aki would never crawl through that. I see it now. You're definitely doing this on purpose. You've been messing with me all day. Sobs, no, I haven't. You're slandering me. Oh, come on. Is using cutesy words like me something a big guy like you should be doing? Right now. Immediately. Take me to a place where we can use Qin Gong to fly out. At that moment, after walking for a while, Lin Wan suddenly sensed something was wrong, that I'm about to transmigrate back to the modern world. Why am I walking all this way holding his hand? How can I transmigrate with him around? In order to return to the transmigration point alone, Lin Wan brought Aki to a tea shop, telling him she was going to the next street to buy him a skewer of Tonghalu. Little Aki nodded obediently. Lin Wan gave a dry laugh. If you keep acting cute, I'll pinch you to death. Then, she gently placed a kiss on his forehead. He blushed. She explained that this was how people in her hometown say goodbye. A flash of sorrow crossed the man's eyes. Aki doesn't want to say goodbye. Aki wants to go with his wife to buy candied hawthorns. To grow old together, it's just a skewer of candied hawthorns, isn't it? I can go by myself. My wife looks so guilty. Anyone who didn't know better would think you were about to leave Aki. Her thoughts exposed, Ling Wan's heart tightens. Of course not. As she turns and leaves, Ling Wan doesn't dare to look back. I'm sorry. I'm not from this world. My current identity is fake. My body is also fake. Every single thing is fake. At this moment, her heart is in agony. Arriving at the transmigration point, she screams at the system. Aki, goodbye. Goodbye forever. A girl who traveled to ancient times had found her true love. But now, the system has informed her that she must return to the modern era. If she disobeys, she will die here. But faced with separation from her beloved, her heart aches as if being sliced by a knife. She hates that she cannot be the master of her own life, and she cannot accept a world without him. At this moment, a man walks up behind her. Teary-eyed, Ling Wan lifts her head. When she sees clearly that the person is not Xie, her heart suddenly feels a pang of disappointment. What was she hoping for? Was she hoping he would come looking for her? While you were unconscious, I was waiting for you outside the manor. I told you before, if you don't want to stay in the capital, I can arrange for you to leave this place. Pulled up forcefully, Ling Wan is a bit dazed. Wait, what's with his expression? When did I become so familiar with him? The man's eyes are filled with guilt. It's all my fault. I failed to discover your identity in time. The next second, the man pulls her into a tight embrace. Ling Wan, come with me. The sudden gesture leaves Ling Wan stunned. What is this situation? The plot seems to be developing incorrectly. Is this a domineering young master falls in love scenario? This is too cliché. The key is, even Xie has never held me like this. And this cliché scene is witnessed by Xie, who had been following her all along. He had sensed her desire to leave long ago. He tried time and again to make her stay. But now, she is this heartless, so heartless as to abandon him. Unexpectedly, Xie suddenly kisses her forehead. The shocked Ling Wan feels as if she's been electrocuted, her hair standing on end. Clenching her fist, she sends him flying with a punch. How dare you take liberties with me? Go to hell. At this moment, the system warns. Only 3 hours remaining until transmigration. Ling Wan clutches her aching head and pushes away Xie, who is trying to help her up. Then, without looking back, she runs deep into the forest. His test concluded, the man stands his ground. The person my brother has his eyes on is truly extraordinary. Hiding among the reeds, Ling Wan is still on edge. Did Xie fail to seize the throne and decide to snatch a girlfriend instead? This is utterly outrageous. Relaxing, she lies down exhausted on the ground. Xie is so clever. He should have discovered I'm gone by now. I wonder if he's sad right now. Unexpectedly, the system suddenly accelerates the countdown to just 1 hour remaining. Did a dog chew on you, you piece of junk? It's only been a little while, and you've deducted 2 hours. This is too much. But the next second, the transmigration time jumps to only 1 minute remaining. Trying to refuse, Ling Wan screams in agony. Just as she thinks she is about to be transported back to the modern era, the system's transmigration fails due to an unknown error, and Ling Wan, losing consciousness, falls into a coma once again. Meanwhile, Li Shuang, who lost Ling Wan, kneels on the ground. The man before him has a grim expression. How is the investigation into the system that the princess consort mentioned? Li Shuang reports that among the people connected to the princess consort, there is no one named system. However, the state preceptor of the Lan Kingdom, far to the west, happens to share this name. The man's eyes grow distant. S.O. You wanted to leave me. Because of him, after an unknown amount of time, Ling Wan, tormented by the system, walks through the streets in a wretched state. She doesn't know if she should feel fortunate that the transmigration failed, because she doesn't know if the system will make a comeback and take her away next time. Suddenly, her thoughts are pulled back by a commotion before her. A group of young children is surrounding a man, mocking him relentlessly. Look, the silly big brother from the big house got dumped by the pretty older sister. That's right, the sister must have dumped him because he's too stupid. You're all talking nonsense. My wife would never despise me. At this moment, disheveled and grimy, he looks as pathetic as an abandoned child. The woman's heart aches as she stands there. Why? Xie is clearly not a fool. In fact, he is more cunning and strategic than Aki. So why is he acting like Aki, letting a group of children bully him? As if words weren't enough, the bratty kids start throwing stones at Aki. Ling Wan dashed in front of the man that I'd like to see who dares to lay another finger on him. If you little brats keep bullying people, I'll spank your bottoms raw. Slightly angry, she turned and wiped the mud stains from his face that you're not a fool. Why would you let this happen? Because I was making a bet. A bet on whether you would come back, on whether you could bear to see others bully me. Luckily, I won the bet. Hearing this, Ling Wan was suddenly taken aback, and tears welled up in her eyes. You fool, you won. The man beamed that I wouldn't lose, because I couldn't afford to lose. But this sentence made Ling Wan wonder, am I just another one of his gambles? Forget it, this is just his personality. So what if I'm a gamble? My lady, let's hurry back. If we stay out too long, we'll scare the fish away. A stunned Ling Wan was completely bewildered. Your mood changes way too fast. To think I was just feeling sorry for your sad face. It seems I was being sentimental for nothing. Seeing this, little Aki started to act pitiful again, and why lady dislikes Aki again. In his heart, what he feared most was waiting. Because when he was very young, he had already experienced too many partings. He's afraid of waiting, afraid of being abandoned. Ling Wan gently stroked his head. Silly. I will never dislike you, no matter what. Later, back in the prince's mansion, Ling Wan couldn't fall asleep for a long time. Dominated by the fear from the system, her face was streaked with tears. When the system was around, she was both nervous and scared. Now that it's gone, she's even more nervous and scared. But the next second, she was scared out of her wits. A man who had suddenly appeared was draped over her. Heavens, when did he get here? The young woman is forced to travel back to the modern era. At any moment, she could be separated from her beloved. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe the next second. This feeling of unease kept the young woman from sleeping. And the man, who was equally afraid of losing her, secretly climbed into her bed when she wasn't looking. Perhaps only by sticking together can they feel secure. The young woman's eyes were filled with reluctance and heartache. Having transmigrated here, her life has been so difficult after just 1 month. She could imagine that he must have gone through many hardships to survive until now. The next morning, a clear-headed Ling Wan was handling official documents for Aki. Recently, the poisonous empress's forces embedded in the army and the capital have been cleared out. As long as the remnants in the Jianghu and the valley are eliminated, Xie can be himself openly and no longer has to feign foolishness. But the next second, she discovered that the maid beside her was actually sent by Shun Tsung to monitor her. Moreover, she could clearly feel that this Shun Tsung held deep hostility towards her. Unexpectedly, the awakened Aki joined the maid in messing with her. Then, he deliberately fell to the ground and started acting pitiful. My lady is so fierce. My lady doesn't like Aki anymore. Ling Wan took the opportunity to send the maid away before helping the man up. You completely ignored me playing along with you. Damn it, why am I spouting internet slang? Mentally exhausted, Ling Wan collapsed to the ground. I just want some peace and quiet. But as she glanced back, she discovered a turtle had been drawn on her face in the mirror. Since you want to act like a naughty child, I'll give you a complete childhood. At this moment, Ling Wan, who usually loves to eat, had no appetite. She wanted to tell him her true identity, but recently he had started feigning foolishness in the mansion again. He must be facing a very tricky situation right now. At this point, the man suddenly mentioned that Feihua Pavilion has had some movement recently. He asked if she still remembered what happened in the pavilion before. Ling Wan was just about to reveal her identity, but was interrupted by the approaching maid, who urged them to hurry up and eat. A startled Ling Wan shot her a death glare. She must be doing this on purpose. Then, she pretended to poke around in the food. This girl keeps rushing us to eat. Could there be a note hidden inside? Unexpectedly, Aki knocked the food to the ground. Only then did Ling Wan realize there was something wrong with the food. Seeing so many eyes watching, she got up and started playing along, scolding Aki for being naughty. Aki, with a pitiful look, said, Aki doesn't like these. Aki only wants to eat tonghalu. Ling Wan put on an air of authority and ordered the maid to take the dishes away and buy some tonghalu. However, no one around her moved. Being a princess consort with no real power is so frustrating. To prevent Aki from getting into trouble, Ling Wan picked up the bowl of rice, intending to eat it for him. The man was about to stop her, but was halted by Ling Wan. She signaled him with her eyes not to expose himself. Fortunately, a cat suddenly jumped down from the courtyard wall. Coincidentally, it bumped into Ling Wan and knocked over the bowl of rice. A starving Hakimi merely took a lick and began foaming at the mouth from the boxed meal. Lin Wan watched the scene before her in horror. If she had eaten it just now, she feared not even the gods could have saved her. So she used the opportunity to shout for help, claiming the food was poisoned. But aside from her own frantic yelling, there was not a single stir in the prince's mansion. What is this? I've shouted my throat hoarse and haven't seen a soul. Just then, Xie stated that everyone in the mansion had been dealt with overnight. He didn't want her to put herself in harm's way as she had before. He was afraid of losing her again. Hearing this, Lin Wan nodded her head frantically. Her expression left the man stunned. An MY lady is so cute like this. On the other side, Xie, who was in the hot spring pool, had already sensed that something was off with Lin Wan. And on the day of the test, she hadn't recognized him at all. At this moment, a carrier pigeon delivered a report. The moment he opened it, he was completely stunned. Clutching the letter tightly, he let out a crazed laugh. Number 11 has amnesia? She can't remember anything? How is that possible? As a number 1 assassin of my Feihua Pavilion, she has never failed a mission. And now, she has amnesia? Number 11, what kind of game are you playing? The next day, Lin Wan was still struggling with whether to tell him her identity. When Xie asked her for information on Feihua Pavilion, she had no idea what to say. But the next second, she was startled by the man behind her. My lady is so naughty. You actually locked the door from the inside last night, so poor Aki couldn't get in. Excuse me? You talk about entering someone else's room with such confidence. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you're pretending to be a 3-year-old. This baby isn't falling for your act. Does my lady dislike Aki now? I know. My lady must be upset with Aki for not doing anything to you when we slept, right? Could you be any more shameless? The man suddenly looked at Lin Wan with a serious expression. I am serious. It is my undeniable duty to continue the royal bloodline. At this, Lin Wan's face turned as black as charcoal. You dare say that one more time? Sob, my lady is so scary. Aki knows he was wrong. Lin Wan watched you constantly hovering inside and outside the room. Spying so diligently, you'll probably get a red envelope as a reward, right? She then pulled Aki along, pretending to teach him how to write. Xie quietly asked her why she used so many strange phrases and where this hometown of hers was. Without turning her head, Lin Wan said that ever since she woke up that time, she couldn't remember anything from before, just as the two were having fun. Princey requested an audience at the gate. On the way there, the man reminded her that Xie is the master of Feihua Pavilion, and that the poisonous empress had invested a great deal in Xie to ensure he could smoothly ascend to power. Only then did Lin Wan realize that this Prince Yu had long become a pawn of the poisonous empress, because the leader of an assassin sect could never become emperor. When the two arrived at the gate, a delicate-looking young girl instantly burst into tears of joy. Before Lin Wan could react, she was pulled into a hug. Older sister, I finally found you. Sister, why didn't you come looking for me? Have you forgotten Xichin? The baffled Lin Wan was completely bewildered that I actually have a sister this old, and nobody thought to give me a heads up. Since I've delivered her to you, I'll be on my way. Lin Wan quickly stopped him. This mansion is currently surrounded. There's no way I can get her inside. Rest assured, as for the people I brought, which of these good-for-nothings would dare to stop them? Lin Wan gave an awkward smile. I must have been possessed by a ghost to think that Xie seemed like a simple-minded big brother. The man's lips curved into a slight smile. Lin Wan, sooner or later, you will remember my other identities. Hearing this, Lin Wan's heart tightened. What other identities? Ex-boyfriend? A fling? Or a secret admirer? My God, the original Lin Wan's taste in men couldn't have been this bad. After returning to the mansion, Aki started to get jealous that Aki doesn't want this girl hugging my lady. Watching the two who were ready to fight the moment they met, Lin Wan was utterly speechless. It seemed there would be no more peaceful days ahead. Xie watched the girl who was constantly clinging to Lin Wan. Why would Xie deliberately send Xichin at this time? Could it be that he already suspects Lin Wan's identity? So, Lin Wan, if you're not an assassin from Feihua Pavilion, then who are you really? He is the decisive and formidable Prince Zhao. Yet now he must pretend to be a foolish prince with the intellect of a 3-year-old to make his mortal enemy lower his guard. Every day, he pulls his wife along to act in a play, and now they face a cute young girl who has suddenly entered their mansion. Lin Wan decided to cook herself to test the waters. Seeing her sister busy, the younger sister looked displeased. This was no work for a princess consort. Marrying a fool like you is the worst luck imaginable. Wifey, someone called a little fool. Boo-hoo. However, Lin Wan, cooking in a large wok for the first time, was clearly flustered. If this girl is really Lin Wan's sister, how could she not recognize her? But she was sent by Xiaoyu. Then she should know Lin Shi of Feihua Pavilion. A moment later, a soot-covered Lin Wan brought out the pastry she had made. But little Achi looked disgusted and refused to taste them. Faced with his wife's repeated pleas, little Achi shoved the tiger rice ball right into Lin Wan's mouth. "Why don't you try it first, wifey?" As if she had swallowed a whole bag of salt, Lin Wan almost passed out. Forcing a brilliant smile through the pain, she said, "Achi is so good. You've learned to share. Quick, Achi, eat up. It's really delicious." Looking at this disastrous dish, she thought that if she had to pretend, she might as well drag someone down with her. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly reached out and wiped the rice crumb from the corner of her mouth. The gentle touch made Lin Wan's heart pound wildly. The man's face drew closer and closer. She could clearly feel his breath. The moment their lips met, Lin Wan's mind went blank. Afterward, the man touched his lips, as if wanting more. "Are girls supposed to taste this salty when you kiss them?" A blushing Lin Wan was about to say something when she saw Si Chin's murderous expression. "Little fool, you just kissed my sister." The interrupted man's eyes flashed with a momentary coldness. But in the next second, he returned to his little Achi persona. "Wifey loves playing the kissing game with Achi the most. We kiss every day." Hearing this, Si Chin grabbed Achi and pulled him away. "You lecherous, stinking fool. If you dare kiss my sister again, I'll tear your mouth apart." Seeing this, Lin Wan hurriedly got between them to break up the fight. But the man dotingly wiped the woman's mouth again. Then he whispered in her ear, "Are you afraid I'll kill him?" Her thoughts seen through, Lin Wan froze on the spot. For that brief moment, his expression was so terrifying that she thought he really would do it. The man's eyes suddenly looked hurt. Is wifey pushing Achi away for someone else again. And as for Prince Yu's current feelings, the woman's heart tightened at his words. Is he being jealous, or is it his possessiveness? Unexpectedly, the man swallowed the rice ball in one bite. Achi will be good and eat. Don't be angry, wifey. Tui tui tui. So salty. The rice is poisoned. The rice is poisoned. Boo-hoo. Achi is going to die from the salt. The mischievous Si Chin burst out laughing. Good thing I'm so smart. I stuffed lots of salt into the rice ball. Serves you right, you little fool, for bullying my sister. No one is allowed to hurt my sister, ever. At night, an exhausted Lin Wan was about to rest when a dagger was suddenly held to her. "Quick, tell me who you are. Where's Lin Shi?" Terrified, Lin Wan broke out in a cold sweat. You need to calm down. I am Lin Shi. You're lying. Lin Shi is a famously cold-blooded assassin. You're not her at all. Lin Wan's expression changed. She indicated that she had amnesia and couldn't remember anything. But the young girl refused to believe it, and no matter how much memory someone loses, their personality can't possibly change. Hearing this, Lin Wan tried her best to explain. What if the me you see now is my true nature? What normal girl wouldn't want to be a little princess? Who would want to have a cold face all the time? Hearing the word princess, Si Chin hesitated for a moment. But the next second, she pulled open the young woman's outer garment. Even if my sister has amnesia, she would never forget me. However, the birthmark on her shoulder was truly there. Only then did she have to believe that the person before her was indeed her sister. Elsewhere in the prince's manor, Li Shuang, having returned from his investigation, reported that he found no information on Si Chin's identity at Feihua Pavilion. And just now, she had almost attacked Lin Wan. The man gave a devilish smile that a small matter like this is nothing to Lin Wan. Otherwise, why would I be so fond of her? Taking over, Li Shuang pouted and muttered something. The man's expression changed. Tell Xiao Tao to return to the manor. With him here, Si Chin should be unable to keep pestering Lin Wan. On the other side, Si Chin, who had been suppressing her emotions, was hugging Lin Wan and crying her eyes out. "Sister, I'm sorry. Si Chin was just afraid of never seeing you again. That's why I did that. Without you, sister, Si Chin has no other family in this world." Lin Wan gently held her. Just as she was about to comfort her, the young girl suddenly asked, "Since you have amnesia, sister, does that mean you've forgotten about Prince Yu too?" Hearing this, Lin Wan was instantly stunned. And oh wait, did I really have something going on with Prince Yu before? If so, he's way too good at acting. Are these two brothers professional actors or something? So dramatic. The next day, Aki, as usual, was putting on an act with his wife in the manor. A woman was following them from behind. Si Chin lunged forward and grabbed the woman. But Lin Wan was already used to being followed, that it's no big deal. Let her go. The young girl was all smiles one moment. But as soon as Lin Wan left, her expression changed instantly. Quick, tell me, whose side are you on? Meanwhile, the woman in red was tending to her flowers. So, the person I sent was discovered? Very well. In that case, I'll go meet her myself. I want to see who it is that has so captivated the prince's heart. The supposedly brilliant Prince Zhao would never have expected that the confidant he had cultivated for years would almost kill his wife. Just a moment ago, a woman in red had suddenly arrived at the manor. However, to Lin Wan's surprise, this stunningly beautiful woman was the prince's concubine, and she had married into the manor 7 years ago. Lin Wan, who had never heard a whisper about this, was instantly stunned. This is too much. That guy has had this young wife for so long. Why did no one tell me? After making her appearance, Xiao Tao politely bid farewell to Lin Wan. But upon returning to her courtyard, she found her subordinate beaten to a pulp. Seeing this, the woman burned with rage that we are both the prince's wives. How dare she disregard me? Xiao Tao snuck out of the manor and arrived outside a cave. She mistakenly believed that the prince asking her to return was a hint to eliminate the Jiaoling sect. As long as I kill this woman, I will be the only favorite by the prince's side. I'll no longer be the brainless, busty human shield everyone talks about. And the position of the prince's #1 female strategist will be mine, Xiao Tao's. But the timid woman was terrified after just a few steps and was instantly frightened by the insects in the cave. At that moment, a man was sitting in the depths of the cave, his eyes glinting coldly. I thought the concubine was so capable. I didn't expect her to be such a coward. The woman, scared out of her wits, was crying her eyes out that a scholar can be killed, but not humiliated. Deduct half my silver. Half. Back in the manor, a woman hiding in a corner silently observed Lin Wan's every move. My poor prince, having to act alongside these two idiots every day. Today, let me help you out of this predicament. And so, she released the poisonous snake she had gotten from Sorcerer. Instantly, screams filled the manor. The woman let out a triumphant laugh. However, when she turned around, she found Lin Wan holding the snake, looking excited. Her triumphant smile shattered. She watched in petrified horror as the snake she feared most was in the other woman's hands, just like a toy. The moment Lin Wan let go, the fleeing snake shot straight towards the concubine's neck. The terrified woman instantly flew into a panic. A snake. Help! A moment later, the undeterred woman made her next move. After all, she was Prince Xiao's concubine, his strategist, and the president of the CS Sansui Support Club. As long as I can get Lin Wan to drink this poisoned soup, even a small sip will be enough. But Lin Wan suddenly appeared from behind. Startled, the woman flinched and knocked over the poisoned soup. Oh no. I think I drank some of the poisoned soup. A stunned Lin Wan leaned closer. The woman shrieked in terror. Did I just drink it? Did I drink the poison? I think so. A bewildered Lin Wan replied. The next second, the woman ran for her life back to her room. Boo-hoo, I'm going to die. I accidentally drank the poison I brewed myself. Boo-hoo. Meanwhile, a sharp pain suddenly shot through Lin Wan's abdomen. She couldn't understand. She was sure she hadn't drunk the poison, so why was she poisoned? Faced with an unconscious Lin Wan, the man just sat there playing with a doll. This nearly drove Cichin, who adored her mistress, mad with anger. If anything happens to her, I swear I'll kill you and send you down to accompany her. Unexpectedly, Shun Tsung suddenly appeared, saying he could treat the princess consort, and his elegant and refined demeanor left Cichin momentarily mesmerized. This person seems so gentle. Little Aki clapped his hands cooperatively. That's right. Mr. Shun's medical skills are the best. He even cured the injured Little Huang. Besides Little Huang, there's also Little Hua, Little Hei, Little Bai, and many, many more. Shun Tsung was about to bow and salute, but Cichin pulled him inside. What's the point of paying respects to that foolish prince? Hurry up and treat my mistress. A moment later, Shun Tsung looked at the blackened silver needle. He stated that the princess consort was merely poisoned and not in serious danger. Hearing this, Cichin exploded. She was poisoned unconscious, and you say it's not serious? Merely? Do you ever consider other people's feelings when you speak? I mean that there is an antidote for the princess consort's poison. We just need to find the witch doctor who did it. Cichin then asked for the witch doctor's location. But little Aki waved his hands. Aki knows that person is in Panshan Cave. But the next second, he returned to his usual state. So, are you planning to go find the antidote? Seeing this, Sichin realized the man had been feigning foolishness all along. But this scene greatly surprised Shinkong. He didn't expect the prince to reveal his true self at this moment. And why would he trust a mere servant girl? At that moment, an anxious Sichin rushed out the door to find the antidote. A stunned Shinsong watched her leave. That I wasn't finished talking. I know where to get the antidote. Just then, Xieqi looked at the suddenly arrived Shinsong. I have said before, the prince stated, without my summons, Mr. Shun need not come to the prince's residence. I only saw Xiao Tao return to the manor and thought your highness might have some arrangements. Unfortunately, your highness only wanted to use her to provoke the princess consort. Mr. Shun, you may be intelligent, but you do not understand the affairs between men and women. I know Lin Wan's heart perfectly well. There's no need for others to test it. Xiao Tao's return to the manor had its purpose, but it's a pity she's more of a liability than an asset. So, Mr. Shun, why did you appear here? I fear you conspired with Xiao Tao to poison Ling Wan. Your Highness seems to forget that I do not associate with fools. Nowadays, only your Highness would keep a foolish woman like Xiao Tao around due to childhood sentiment. Previously, Xiao Tao was a decoy, causing chaos in the manor to confuse the Empress Dowager's spies. Other than that, I'm afraid she's utterly useless. At this moment, the unconscious Ling Wan discovered her system was in chaos. Then, the connection was severed. A moment later, the regaining Ling Wan's eyes shot open, and she subconsciously called out, "System." This made the man beside her's heart tighten. Him again? Who on earth is this system to you? So much so that you can't forget him even with amnesia. Just then, a returning Sichin kicked the door open. These damn guards. They actually blocked me from leaving. When she saw that Ling Wan was awake, she rushed forward. Sob, "Sister, you're finally okay." "Sister, let me tell you, this little fool has been pretending all along. He's been deceiving you." "Wife, she's calling me a little fool again." Meanwhile, in Panshan Cave on the back mountain, the witch doctor, tortured to within an inch of his life, pleaded with the man before him to spare him. "Sir, when you took advantage of the side consort's ignorance, poisoning her clothes and implicating my beloved, did you ever guess what your own fate would be?" At this moment, the man seemed as if he had just stepped out of hell. Heaven has a path, but you did not take it. Hell has no gate, yet you threw yourself in. Men, burn this place to the ground. The man looked at the blood-stained long sword in his hand. Killing does not bring me joy, but it allows us to survive. Before, I lived for revenge. After meeting you, I live only to protect. Although I want to be the Aki in your heart, I know I cannot. Just when the man thought he had the power to protect his beloved, she vanished completely from his world in order to save him. Just after waking up, the Empress Dowager summoned Lin Wan to the palace, ordering her and Prince Zhao to go to Fahua Temple to pray for the people. This was to lure out the Empress Dowager's last remaining hidden forces and annihilate them in one fell swoop. On the day of the prayer, citizens from all over the city gathered outside Fahua Temple, and among them, the remnants of the Empress Dowager's forces were surely hidden. The man fiddled with a tiger doll in his hands, stating that he had completely eradicated the entire Feihua Pavilion. From now on, the identity of Lin 11 would be unknown to all. Hearing this, Lin Wan was a little surprised. Does he care that much about this assassin identity? If I told him my identity as someone from the modern world, would he be just as concerned? When the carriage stopped, a young acolyte was waiting to lead the two of them. At this point, being led into the bamboo forest on the back mountain, the pair realized the enemy intended to make their move now, to make their opponents lower their guard. The dramatic couple chatted and laughed all the way. Soon, several assassins descended from the sky. Seeing the woman protecting him, the man's eyes sharpened. "Wife, killing is rough work. It's better if I handle it." Seeing this, the enemy was greatly displeased at S.O. Prince Zhao was indeed feigning foolishness to deceive the world. Lin Wan deliberately shielded Xieqi behind her that "I know you are the Empress Dowager's people. If you know what's good for you, surrender now." A few men, certain of their victory, stepped forward. "You won't be leaving here alive today." Seeing the time was right, Lin Wan pulled the man aside. The next second, a large net hidden under the dead leaves ensnared all of them. Having captured them in one fell swoop, Lin Wan beamed with joy. "Sorry about that." Then, she put her palms together to ask for Buddha's forgiveness. killing in a Buddhist temple. May the gods not blame me. This has nothing to do with Aki. The man stared intently at Lin Wan, at this woman who was solely devoted to him. But the next second, she happily cupped his face. I'm sorry, Aki. I know you wanted to do it yourself, but we had an agreement. From today on, you don't have to pretend to be a fool anymore. You can be yourself, openly and proudly. Her next action made the man's face flush red, but the beautiful moment was short-lived. A stray arrow suddenly struck the woman. Her heart tightened. Aki, there's an ambush in the woods. This arrow is poisoned. We have to leave quickly. Hearing she was poisoned, the man's entire heart trembled. He thought he finally had the ability to protect her, yet now she was hurt again because of him. Seeing the enemies closing in, Lin Wan endured the sharp pain and broke the arrow shaft. Seeing this, the man's heart ached for her. Lin Wan, go. I'll handle this. But Lin Wan, solely focused on protecting him, drew a long sword from her folding umbrella and told him to leave quickly. Just then, Li Shuang arrived on the scene with reinforcements. But after fighting for a long time, the number of assassins didn't decrease. Instead, it grew that we had everything deployed beforehand. Why is this happening? Seeing that a battle of attrition would be unfavorable, Lin Wan wanted to send Xie away. So she offered to stay and defend, telling him to find the right moment to check the situation on the perimeter. But the man refused to leave. I've regretted leaving you behind every single time before. This time, I won't be separated from you again. At this moment, Lin Wan could clearly sense his fear of losing her. She realized she had never been able to give him a true sense of security. She took his hand. Aki, I'll be fine. When you come back safely, I'll tell you a secret about my true identity. However, in this life or death moment, he didn't care about any of that. I don't want to hear it. All I know is that you're injured right now. Before he could finish, Lin Wan spun around and knocked an assassin to the ground. Don't worry. Even injured, dealing with a few rookies is more than manageable. Given the situation, there must be a problem with the perimeter deployment. For the sake of the bigger picture, you must go and investigate. After she fought her way to create an opening, the man could only grit his teeth and run towards the perimeter. Lin Wan, wait for me. You have to wait for me to come back. At that moment, Lin Wan raised her long sword domineeringly. I am the #1 assassin of Feihua Pavilion. You think you're a match for me. But the next second, a huge crowd of people swarmed her. So much for honor. There are way too many of you. As she fought with all her might, outnumbered, she was ultimately defeated. But when she saw clearly who had arrived, she was instantly stunned. Long time no see, Your Highness the Princess Consort. You deliberately let in so many assassins. Your goal was to lure Xie away. He lifted her chin. The Princess Consort is indeed clever. It's a pity you must die here today. Lin Wan was confused. You're clearly one of Xie's men. Why are you trying to kill me? But the next second, as if all her strength had been drained, she collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, the man laughed smugly. You alive? Only make Xie lose his fighting spirit and his ambition for the throne. Only your death will ignite his hatred and make him revert to the decisive and ruthless Prince Zhao he once was. Lin Wan frowned, staring intently at Shun Tsung. I say Xie like that really a good thing? Whether it's good or bad has nothing to do with me. Unfortunately, I only obtained a little bit of power from the Poison Empress, and it's far from enough. Only by having Xie and Xie destroy each other can I get what I want. It was only then that Lin Wan realized his goal was to seize power for himself. After Shen Tsung gave the signal, his men moved to take Lin Wan's life. But the next second, a stray arrow struck his wrist. Just then, Si Qin ran anxiously towards Lin Wan. Seeing her sister's pained expression, she was filled with hatred. Think that the master healer I so admired is actually a demon. His survival at this moment was clearly unexpected. To think his long-planned scheme was actually ruined by a little girl. I'm sorry to have disappointed you, but with just a little girl like you, you still expect to escape with him? Stop dreaming. Si Qin let out a cold laugh. When did I ever say I came alone? A sudden movement startled the birds in the forest into flight. Seeing this, the man's heart tightened. An ominous premonition filled his body. Meanwhile, a carriage sped through the forest. Inside, a man was tightly holding Lin Wan's hand. His eyes were filled with heartache and guilt. I'm sorry. It's all my fault for finding you so late. Barely conscious, Lin Wan couldn't see the person before her clearly. She weakly asked where they were going. The man's thin lips parted slightly. We're going home. Back to your real home. Meanwhile, the returning Xie's heart sank to rock bottom. The most important person in his life was gone. He had conquered the world, but lost the woman he loved most. He searched every place she could possibly be, but couldn't find a single trace of her. At this moment, he would willingly give up everything just to have her back. This made the long-scheming Shun Tsung feel like he was on pins and needles. He even ignored all attempts to stop him and barged directly into Xie study, urging him not to let romantic affairs delay the grand enterprise. Although the Poison Empress's forces have been eradicated, the Prince of Yu still needs to be dealt with. The man's brows furrowed, unwilling to hear another word from him. After Shen Tsung left, a figure emerged from behind the screen. He truly is a venomous snake, flawless in his schemes. However, it seems he miscalculated one thing. The bond between us brothers is far stronger than he imagined. As a double agent for the Poison Empress, Shen Tsung now has her remaining forces and the Yuan family under his control. No wonder he carries himself as the most powerful official. Blinded by his lust for power, it's clear to me his ultimate goal is the throne. But Xie remained unmoved, as if he had lost his soul. Angered, Xie extended her hand. I get it now. You're just trying to slack off, so you pushed the throne onto me, didn't you? You were clearly the wise ruler Father Emperor and Mother Empress had in mind, yet you're deliberately choosing to give up. The man looked down at the tiger doll in his hand, the one Ling one had made for him. This throne is no longer what my heart desires. Seeing this, Xie was exasperated. Are you still waiting for her? A long time ago, she was Lin Shi of the Feihua Pavilion. Cold and heartless, she always kept others at arm's length. She was very different from the Ling Wan who was later by your side. The first moment I saw Ling Wan, I knew she wasn't Lin Shi. As Ling Wan, she became so cheerful by your side. She must have been very happy with you. In the bamboo forest on the day of the incident, only her bloodstains remain. I've mobilized all my forces but still haven't found her. Could Ling Wan already be gone? The man's gaze was unwavering. Knowing Shun Tsung's character, if he had truly killed Ling Wan, he would have brought her body before me long ago to crush my hope. What's more, that girl Xi is also missing. Xieyu's brows knitted together. The Poison Empress, fearing you'd discover her identity after she married into the Prince of Zhao's manor, destroyed all of Lin Shi's records at the Feihua Pavilion. After her failed suicide attempt half a month ago, the Poison Empress has been delirious. Now Xi is also missing. I'm afraid there's no one left in this world who knows her true identity. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Lan Kingdom is the very Ling one that Xie is desperately searching for. And by her side, there is a man. As Ling Wan has been in a coma due to poisoning, he has been by her side every day, meticulously caring for her. Every time he thinks of the suffering she has endured, his heart aches unbearably. From now on, I will never let anyone harm you in the slightest. One day a month later, Ling Wan awoke, feeling as if she had been in a very long dream. In her dream, she had arrived in a strange place. Looking around, she instantly panicked. An unfamiliar environment and a group of strangers. When a maidservant addressed her as princess, Ling Wan was instantly stunned. What princess? Don't tell me I've transmigrated again. Just then, Xi, hearing her voice, rushed in. She threw herself into Ling Wan's arms and burst into tears. This is wonderful. Sister, you're finally okay. Sobs, this familiar scene made Ling Wan instantly breathe a sigh of relief. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I didn't transmigrate. I nearly scared myself to death. Ling Wan was very confused. Where are we? And Xie? Is he all right? Upon hearing from Xi that he had become the formidable Prince Regent of the Qin Kingdom, her anxious heart finally settled. Ling Wan looked at herself in the mirror. She is now the 11th princess of the Lan Kingdom, but she can't help but feel that something isn't right. After she is washed up, a delighted Xi's eyes sparkle. Your Highness, you are so beautiful. Lin Wan pulls her close. Didn't you always call me sister before? Little Xi covers her face, looking pitiful. I was only your temporary sister. In the palace, I am just the princess's personal maid. Lin Wan steps forward and asks how long she has been asleep. When she hears it's been a month, she feels like she's going crazy. Why? Why has everything changed after I woke up? Meanwhile, Li Shuang frantically finds the prince. He reports that he has found the whereabouts of the princess consort. Hearing the news, Xie is so shocked that he trembles all over. It turns out that the Lan Kingdom to the west intends to form an alliance with the Qin Kingdom and has sent an envoy to deliver a portrait of their princess to the Ministry of Rites. The officials at the Ministry of Rites discovered that this princess of the Lan Kingdom bears a striking resemblance to the princess consort. Hearing this, the man feels a trace of fear. He's afraid that the person in the portrait is not the woman he has been longing for. With trembling hands, he slowly unrolls the scroll. The moment he sees the woman, his mind goes completely blank. Xiaoyu curiously leans in to take a look. The woman in this painting, she seems a bit younger than Lin Wan. Could it really be the Lin Wan we know? Or is it just a coincidence? The man reveals a long-lost smile. Is it a coincidence? We'll know once we check. Since the envoy from the Lan Kingdom has sincerely brought a portrait to propose an alliance, then it's only right for our Qin Kingdom to send an envoy to meet the person in question. That makes a lot of sense. But don't you already have a princess consort? The man's lips curl into a smile. This time, I will never let you go again. In order to find his wife, the man travels thousands of miles to a foreign country for a marriage meeting, only to nearly anger his wife to death on the spot. Just moments ago, the girl who traveled through time learned that the original owner of her body was the 11th princess of the Lan Kingdom, the one who was least favored. Furthermore, her mother was framed by other consorts and thrown into the cold palace. Having experienced the harsh realities of life since childhood, the original owner's greatest wish was to one day be able to get her mother out of the cold palace. Finally, one day, after escaping the capital, she decided to disguise her identity and infiltrate the Flying Flower Pavilion to get close to the Qin Kingdom's Prince Xiaoyu. She wanted to use Xiaoyu's power to intimidate the Lan Kingdom, but she fell for the treacherous queen's scheme and ended up marrying Prince Zhao. Xie, however, lost his life because of it. This series of events is enough to drive Lin Wan crazy. If the original owner had known that the Xie she married was such an angel, this goofy Xiaoyu probably wouldn't even be in the picture. She only chose Prince Yu because she had heard that Prince Zhao was a fool. When she arrives at her original mother's residence, a strange feeling surges through Lin Wan's heart. But just as she reaches the door, she hears someone barking inside. At this moment, a woman in red is standing in front of her original mother, taunting her relentlessly. And she is none other than the highly favored 7th princess of the Lan Kingdom, Yunlan. Seeing this, Lin Wan is furious. This snob is going too far. Full of dominance, she pushes the door open and enters. I am here to visit my mother consort. Irrelevant people, please leave. Yunlan is very displeased by Yun Wei's sudden arrival. I heard you lost your memory after coming back. I didn't expect that after losing your memory, you'd also get bolder and your behavior would become cruder. Why don't I, as your older sister, teach you some manners? With that, she raises her hand to strike. But Lin Wan, as Yun Wei, doesn't even give a damn about this little shrew. She executes a shoulder throw, sending the other woman flying out of the room. My apologies. My actions are indeed uncontrollable. I hope you won't blame me, sister. Yunlan clutches her sore bottom. You don't really think Father Emperor lifted the ban here because he genuinely wanted to pardon your mother, do you? I'm telling you, the only reason Father Emperor did this is so he can announce at tomorrow's birthday banquet that you will be sent for a marriage alliance. I bet that ugly husband of yours is already on his way here. After saying this, she limps away, clutching her backside, leaving a stunned Lin Wan frozen in place. What the hell? No way. Why am I getting married again? Who am I? Where am I? What is wrong with this world? System? Where have you run off to, you bastard? Oh heavens, someone save me. At that moment, the sound of a soft, urgent cough pulls Lin Wan back from her thoughts. She hurried to the woman's side, but not being the real Yun Wei, she couldn't bring herself to call her mother. However, Consort Qin saw right through her thoughts. Where, you don't want to go through with the political marriage, do you? Lin Wan lowered her gaze, indicating that someone was waiting for her somewhere far away. Heartbroken for her daughter, Consort Qin was filled with guilt. It's Mother Consort's fault. I was useless and failed to protect you. Princess Yunlan was supposed to be the one to marry him. She was unwilling, so your father emperor wanted you to take her place. So, you should run away now. Run far, far away. At this, Lin Wan's tears flowed uncontrollably. Mother Consort, Wei'er has grown up. Wei'er will not run away and leave you all alone. Now, it's my turn to protect you. Meanwhile, on the other side, still on his journey, Xie looked at the flower in his hand. She grew up in the cold palace, so even if she slipped out of the country, no one would have noticed. So, your highness believes that the princess consort is the one who secretly left the palace? Whether she is the 11th princess or not, we will know once we meet her. I just don't understand. If it's really her, why hasn't she come to find me after all this time? On the day of the Lan Kingdom Emperor's birthday banquet, everyone was waiting for the arrival of the envoy from the Qin Kingdom. Yin Lan had a gloating expression that I heard your future husband is incredibly ugly and violent by nature. You'll see him in person in a little while. Aren't you excited? My dear sister. Lin Wan couldn't be bothered to respond, but she found the description strangely familiar. Just then, a man walked slowly into the grand hall. His unique, imperial aura stunned everyone present. The moment Lin Wan raised her head, she was instantly frozen. The man before her was the very Xie Qi she had been longing for. Completely the opposite of the rumors, his appearance caught everyone by surprise. The man calmly and leisurely sat down opposite her. Lin Wan felt her mind go blank. How could the person who came be him? And he didn't seem to recognize her. That I S it because I'm wearing a veil? But in reality, his composure was only on the surface. His heart had been trembling ever since he first laid eyes on her. However, he had too many questions that he wanted her to answer in person. The next day, an uneasy Lin Wan awoke with a start from a dream. At the birthday banquet yesterday, she had no chance to speak with Xie Qi at all. The way things were developing was becoming more and more incomprehensible to her. In the main hall, Yun Lan, captivated by Xie Qi's handsome appearance, was filled with regret. She was now kicking up a fuss, insisting on the political marriage. Outside the door, Lin Wan broke into a cold sweat. This sister of mine, is there something seriously wrong with your brain? But when she walked into the hall, she discovered that Xie Qi was also there. The two, who hadn't seen each other in a long time, met once again. It was as if they had just returned from a trip. Seeing this, Yun Lan was furious. She would never let Yin Wei marry the man she had her eyes on. The Lan Kingdom's emperor was a bit awkward. Although his favorite was the 7th princess, Yun Lan, the portrait sent before was, after all, of the 11th princess, Yin Wei. Thus, he could only express that both his daughters held him in high regard. A slight smile played on Xie Qi's lips. Does your majesty wish for me to choose a suitable candidate between the two princesses to be the queen consort of Qin? As he spoke, he slowly stepped forward. He deliberately walked up to Yun Lan first, praising her beautiful face. Although she is veiled, I can still sense her elegant grace. Thinking she had been chosen, Yun Lan was secretly delighted. Just then, the man turned his gaze to Lin Wan, looking as if he wanted to say something but was hesitating. Thinking he hadn't recognized her, Lin Wan became extremely nervous. I wonder, has Princess Yun Wei ever been to the Qin Kingdom before? As soon as he said this, the emperor hurriedly denied it, claiming she had never left the Lan Kingdom. The words that had reached Lin Wan's lips were forcefully swallowed back down. Since Yun Wei had secretly snuck out of the palace, if she admitted it now, she would surely implicate Consort Qin. Has Princess Yun Wei truly never been to the Qin Kingdom? Lin Wan unconsciously clenched the hem of her skirt. She desperately wanted to tell him, but she couldn't. When the emperor asked him which princess he had chosen, the man did not answer directly. I hear that tomorrow is the flower festival of Guebua, a time when scholars and ladies can seek their soulmates under the moon. I very much look forward to it. Regardless of background, I only wish to find the one I am fated to be with. Leaving the main hall, Lin Wan was fuming that MY body is not even cold yet, and he's already here on a matchmaking tour. To be so eager to find a consort is simply too much. Men are all the same. Si Qin fanned her to cool her down. Perhaps His Highness, Prince Zhao, didn't recognize you. An enraged Lin Wan was about to punch a pillar. But in the next second, her fist was caught by a large hand that way her. You're finally awake. You had me worried for so long. The man who had suddenly appeared made Lin Wan's heart tighten. Damn, who is this guy now? It can't be one of Yun Wei's past flings, can it? The young girl's unfamiliar gaze made the man hesitate. But the next second, he grabbed her hand and was about to leave. Don't worry, I'm here. I will never let you marry into the state of Qing. The bewildered Lin Wan was about to say something when her other hand was grabbed tightly by someone else. When Lin Wan turned to look, she froze instantly. Where on earth did this Xie Chi pop out from. Caught between two men pulling her tightly, she was mortified on the spot. Heavens, will someone please save me? The two were clearly husband and wife, yet they were forced to be apart. Now that they've met again, they cannot acknowledge each other. Seeing his own wife about to be pulled away by another man, a jealous Chi immediately stepped forward and grabbed her. The two men, each holding one of her hands, were unwilling to let go, and the woman's unusual reaction made him ask that question again. Princess Yunwei has yet to answer me. Have you ever been to the state of Qing before? Hearing this, the other man was very displeased. Who are you? And who are you? The equally displeased Xie retorted. Seeing the murderous intent the two men had for each other, Lin Wan quickly said, there must be some misunderstanding. The moment Xie let go of her hand, the man pulled Lin Wan behind him protectively. And no matter who you are, if you dare lay another finger on my imperial sister, I will make you pay the price. Hearing the words imperial sister, Xie was stunned for a moment. So, it is your highness, the third prince of the state of Lan. This humble king, Xie, was impolite. Only then did Lin Wan realize that the man before her was her third imperial brother, Yun Wangshu. The third prince shielded Lin Wan protectively. May I ask the regent king why you are pestering my imperial sister? Is this some special custom of the state of Qing? The man's gaze remained fixed on Lin Wan. He stated that she bore a strong resemblance to an old acquaintance of his. That I can answer your question on my sister's behalf. She has never been to the state of Qing. She is not your acquaintance. You are strangers, and there will be no connection between you in the future. Xie looked at Lin Wan, who kept avoiding his question, since the princess finds it inconvenient to answer. Then this humble king will await Princess Yunwei at the Flower Boat Festival tomorrow. Lin Wan silently watched Xie leave, and her expression was fully taken in by Yun Wangshu. Just as he was about to say something else, Lin Wan made an excuse and hurriedly left the scene. Right now, she had absolutely no memory of Yun Wangshu. It was best to slip away quickly. The man who was left behind stood in his spot. He then asked the person behind him how the arrangements were proceeding. His subordinate replied that everything had been arranged. Eager to protect his sister, he watched her leave without Weir, rest assured. As long as I'm here, I won't let Father Emperor gamble with your happiness. On the day of the Flower Boat Festival, the entire city was decorated with lanterns and fragrant for miles. Regarding Yun Wangshu, Xi explained, he currently doesn't know that Yun Wei is already the princess consort of King Zhao of Qing. Besides, sister, you snuck out of the palace. Naturally, the fewer people who know, the better. Lin Wan sighed helplessly. In no wonder there was such a huge misunderstanding. But Yun Wangshu's reaction made her very curious. She suddenly wanted to know what kind of person he was. The third prince is, of course, the most important family member in your life, sister, besides Consort Qin. At this, Lin Wan felt a little sad. The most important family member? It's a pity I don't remember him at all. Then, sister, are you planning to tell His Highness King Zhao tonight that you are Lin Wan? I definitely can't tell him about this with great fanfare. No one can know that the princess consort is Princess Yunwei, who secretly snuck out of the palace. Then, sister, you can take the opportunity of the Flower Boat Festival to tell him secretly. As for him running off to a neighboring country for a matchmaking trip, while Lin Wan's fate was unknown, I haven't settled that score with him yet. At this moment, arriving at the dock, Lin Wan was dumbfounded. The colorful flower boats were so numerous, it was dazzling. There are actually this many young ladies attending the event. Well, who knows who spread the word that His Highness could be encountered here. I'm afraid all the noble young ladies in the city have come. Hearing this, Lin Wan was fuming. Xie, you're such a philanderer. At that moment, the man being cursed was sneezing uncontrollably. Bai Shuang brought a shawl for her master with a worried look. I heard that the princess of the state of Lan has a very cold personality, vastly different from the princess consorts. Can she really be the princess consort? A slight smile played on the man's lips. Whether it's her or not will be revealed soon enough. If she is Lin Wan and finds out I'm here for a political marriage, I'm afraid she'll be furious. Meanwhile, Lin Wan, stuck by the riverbank, was furious. This is outrageous. I can't believe there are boat jams, even in ancient times. How long will it take me to row to the center of the lake? Xi looked around. Sister, have you noticed? It seems like these boats are intentionally surrounding us. Seeing this, Lin Wan instantly realized that the girl Yun Lan was behind this mischief. It was all to trap her here, unable to move. On the other side, Yunlan looked smugly at her masterpiece. Hee, my dear little sister, you just stay put here. His Highness, Prince Zhao, can only be mine. At this moment, Ling Wan's boat was surrounded by an increasing number of vessels. No matter how she rowed, she was trapped. If this continued, it would be impossible to reach the other side. Just then, Siqin pointed towards the center of the lake. Your Highness, the lantern on the boat is still lit, which means he hasn't met the lady yet. Ling Wan stared into the distance. The boats blocking her path were increasing in number. It seems I have no choice but to give up. Hearing this, Siqin looked astonished. You're giving up already? Ling Wan tossed the pole aside. What I mean is these romantic little games aren't my style. She then tore off her lantern, intending to use her lightness skill to fly directly to the center of the lake. With a graceful leap, she weaved through the obstructing boats, leaving everyone present completely stunned. Meanwhile, on the other side, the man stood anxiously at the bow of his boat. Your Highness, a scout reported, the 11th princess has been trapped by the 7th princess's boats near the east bank. It's unlikely she'll be able to get away anytime soon. The man's face darkened, but he remained silent. Only his tightly clenched fists, cracking under the pressure, betrayed his feelings. If your Highness is worried, I can go and fetch the 11th princess right now. The man stared at a point in the distance. There's no need. The person I'm waiting for won't be so easily defeated by a small obstacle. The man's stubborn refusal to admit his worry left Li Suang speechless. He was clearly so nervous he had to come out for air. He must be dying of anxiety inside. After a long while, still no boat had approached. The man in the center of the lake, about to explode with frustration, clenched his fists. Has my stock really fallen this low? It's likely the 7th princess has intercepted all the young ladies from noble families who were trying to approach you. A moment later, a pink boat gradually drew near. So, could the person arriving be her? He had thought he had lost the love of his life. But here she was, appearing before him under a different identity, to reunite with his wife. The man had traveled 1,000 miles to a foreign land for a matchmaking event, only to be unexpectedly mobbed by all the eligible ladies of the city. Even his wife was blocked from meeting him by a villain, making the man so anxious he nearly jumped into the river. After a long wait, a pink boat gradually drew near. On board, a coerced Yunlan was rowing for her life, forced into manual labor by Ling Wan. The man stared, transfixed, at the figure in the distance. He knew it. He knew she would find a way to get to his side. Ling Wan grabbed her lantern and leaped into the air. Soaring through the sky, she was like a fairy rushing towards her beloved. The two, who longed for each other, were now just inches apart. In this moment, he could feel his own heart pounding wildly. Pounding, but it seemed she had used too much force. Unable to break, Ling Wan panicked that it's over. I'm going to crash. The moment she landed, the man pulled her tightly into his arms. The person who occupied his entire world. He knew the one he had been waiting for had come. In that instant, it felt as if the whole world had gone quiet. All that remained were their two hearts, beating for one another. It had been so long since they had held each other like this. The woman started to pull away, rubbing her bruised forehead. But the next second, the man pulled her back into his embrace. Don't move, his deep voice murmured in her ear. The young woman looked up. His handsome face was inches away, making her heart flutter. This moment, this warmth, this scent, it was all so familiar. Sensations nearly forgotten over the long years were now screaming out. Memories of the past flooded her mind. This person before her, he was the one she had been searching for so desperately. Her one and only, irreplaceable, my princess. At that moment, Ling Wan was curled up in the man's arms like a kitten. Her crimson cheeks made his breath quicken. Just as the two were savoring the joy of their reunion, Li Suang suddenly appeared behind them, startling Ling Wan so much that she shot out of the man's arms. I didn't mean to interrupt, he stammered. I just wanted to say, our boat is on fire. Hearing this, Ling Wan's face fell. Xie rushed forward to comfort his wife. He then ordered Li Suang to pull up alongside the nearest boat. As the two vessels departed, Xie pulled his wife without hesitation, moving to another boat. But Lin Wan turned back to pick up her lantern. Facing the man's confusion, Lin Wan pouted, saying that the Flower Boat Festival is for finding a soulmate under the moon, and the lantern is a token for the matchmaking. If it's lost, it won't count. Xie was amused by her adorable expression. direction. He then helped her step onto another boat. But Yun Lan, emerging from the cabin, saw them holding hands and instantly flew into a rage. How come this boat looks so familiar? It's a small world for enemies. Your lantern is out, and you still dare to hold His Highness's hand. How outrageous! Lin Wan blinked her eyes, and no one said this lantern had to be lit. On the other hand, you were secretly setting fires and nearly got people killed. You're the outrageous one. You're slandering me. This princess would never set a fire. Yet she thought for a moment and stated that it indeed wasn't her. Setting a fire on water can't kill anyone. Unless... Just then, a maid ran over to report that the boatman had disappeared. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Xie sensed danger and immediately ordered everyone to jump ship. With a loud bang, both boats were instantly blown to smithereens. Out of danger, Lin Wan lay on the shore, unable to understand who would want to kill Yun Lan. But when she saw Xie rushing over anxiously, she realized that the person wanted Yun Lan and Xie to die together. But Xie had only just arrived here. So who could the assailant be? Seeing the two acting intimately again, Yun Lan was furious. Lin Wan, you've already been disqualified. Let go of His Highness's hand now. The young couple was left speechless by her words. After nearly being blown to bits, this is all she could think about. She must be a bit of an idiot. Don't you forget, your lantern is already out, so you must withdraw. But, big sister, have you also forgotten? Your lantern has been blown to smithereens. Hearing this, Yun Lan smirked slyly. Who said this princess only has one lantern? Look behind me. I bought all the lanterns on this entire street. Ha ha ha. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly burst out laughing. The seventh princess has lit the way for this prince. This prince is naturally delighted. As he spoke, his eyes never glanced at her, but remained fixed on his own wife. Hearing this, Lin Wan stood there stunned, her pale face instantly flushing red. The next second, she left them behind and ran off. This princess is going back to freshen up now. The man then looked at his wife. The night is still young. 11th princess, why don't you take a stroll with this prince? Burning with jealousy, Lin Wan pouted that aren't you delighted? You should go for a walk with your 7th princess. Seeing this, the man became playful, saying that with the 7th princess gone, she was a reluctant choice. This was enough to thoroughly infuriate Lin Wan. Seeing her silence, the man tentatively tried again, 11th princess, only for Lin Wan to raise her hand and hit him with a stick. 11th my foot. The man clutched his head, crying out that it hurt. It's supposed to hurt. You're lucky I didn't kill you. She then stormed off. The man picked up the fallen lantern. However, his master's actions confused Li Shuang. Why would he anger his wife whom he had just found? The man stared intently in the direction she left. Don't you think she's cute when she's angry? The single Li Shuang replied, I don't get it. But in reality, the man had deliberately sent her away. After all, the boat had exploded. He expected someone would come to check on the outcome soon. He wanted to see just who dared to harm his person. Meanwhile, a furious Yun Wangshu pinned the man against the wall. I only told you to burn the boat. You blew it up behind my back. How dare you? But the man claimed he was avenging his fallen brothers, and that the Wolf and Qing kingdoms must not form an alliance. Hearing this, Yun Wangshu retracted his hand. The ruling empress of the Qing kingdom is dead. The current Qing kingdom is like a newly awakened lion. Are you going to send the survivors to their deaths too? After tonight, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to stop that highness from getting what he wants. At this time, due to the burning of the flower boats, the entire Lan kingdom was on high alert. Lin Wan stood dumbfounded in front of the gate and was almost mistaken by the soldiers as an accomplice in the boat burning. Just then, Xie suddenly appeared and pulled her away. A bewildered Lin Wan said, We're not assassins. Why do we have to hide? But the next second, she felt a chill and sneezed. Then, the man thoughtfully started a fire to warm her up. But Lin Wan was worried. The person behind this clearly doesn't want you to return to Qingma alive. However, the man chuckled. Are you worried about me? How can I not be worried when you're like this? What's so good about this place that you had to come here to die? But the man lifted a strand of her hair, a scent he was all too familiar with. There's nothing good here. But there is someone who made me have to come. The woman shyly turned away. You think Yun Lan started this fire? But the man said she wouldn't have the guts. Hearing this, Ling Wan became jealous again. I didn't realize you know them so well now. The man's lips curved into a slight smile. Are you jealous? If you think so, then so be it. With that, she was about to leave again. Seeing this, the man panicked instantly. He immediately went forward, grabbed her, and apologized repeatedly. But the angry Ling Wan couldn't accept it, accusing him of knowing her identity all along, yet deliberately using He Qing to provoke her. The man lowered his eyes, admitting his fault, but he was afraid that the outcome was only what he had imagined. And he couldn't bear such an outcome. It's just that now I'm more certain of one thing. Before, I would have thought I was just being wishful. But your jealousy lets me know that you care about me. Ling Wan shook her head proudly that I would never get jealous. Unexpectedly, the man's gaze suddenly shifted downwards. A confused Ling Wan followed his gaze and looked at herself. Seeing her star-painted face, he instantly covered it. But the warmth of his palm warmed her heart that you're still here. Still by my side. It's so good. Hey, cut it out with that sweet talk. The man had a mischievous smile. And why, lady, are you flustered because you're shy? Then he pulled her into an embrace. Recently, I learned a way to quickly make us no longer strangers. The next second, he pushed Lin Wan to the ground. The sudden proximity made Lin Wan panic instantly. And as his face drew closer, her own face flushed red. Stranger's my foot. And you're too close. Too close? I don't think so. Then he moved close to her ear and said softly, I want to say, there's something I've wanted to do for a long time. The man pushed his wife to the ground, wanting to take their relationship a step further. But this action made Lin Wan extremely flustered. After all, they were outdoors. Seeing this, the man grinned mischievously. Does my lady mean that if we were in the bedchamber, we could continue? Lin Wan reached out and pushed the man away. You don't talk nonsense. But the next second, Xie grabbed her hand and pressed it to the ground again. This separation had made him yearn for her immensely. We are husband and wife. Naturally, we should do what married couples do. From the day you left me, I decided. The next time I saw you, I would definitely devour you. Even so, he still wanted to save that beautiful moment for when she was willing. Although they were just holding each other, her scent intoxicated him. But it's so good to have you, Ling Wan. Unexpectedly, the sound of hurried footsteps came from not far away. Ling Wan quickly pushed him away. I think someone's coming. At that moment, a frantic Yin Wangshu arrived on the scene. Seeing him, Lin Wan's heart tightened. Got you him? The ground was slippery just now, so he fell. Beside them, little Aki pouted, clearly dissatisfied with this explanation. Unexpectedly, Yunlan had also trotted over. When she saw the two of them still together, she exploded. Why are you still pestering the Regent King? And you, in this state, you're simply shameless. Seeing this, Wangshu immediately stepped between them to stop her. Princess Shi, please watch your words. Don't bring shame upon the Lan Kingdom and yourself. Then he took off his own outer robe. He gently draped it over Ling Wan. I'll take my sister back to the palace now. The night is young, so we won't disturb you too. Yun Wangshu's brows were tightly furrowed, his tone filled with displeasure. Pushed along by her brother, Lin Wan looked back. Are we just leaving them like this? What else? Yun Wangshu replied with a cold face. Feeling a bit uncomfortable, Lin Wan reached out and pushed him away. Then she forced an awkward smile. She couldn't help but feel that this brother of hers was a bit fierce. When the two returned to the palace, the man, without a word, dismissed all the maids. He angrily pulled the woman, because you don't need to sacrifice so much for us anymore. The Lan Kingdom can sacrifice anyone, but that person can never be you. But because he used too much force, Ling Wan recoiled 2 steps in pain. Then she turned her back, saying she was tired and wanted to rest. The man, trying hard to suppress his anger, clenched his fists. Then get some rest. But remember, stay away from Xie. Ling Wan silently watched the man's departing figure. She didn't know if this Yin Wangshu was good or bad, and his hostility towards Xie, was it due to national enmity or a personal grudge? Just then, a figure sneaked into Ling Wan's room, and this scene was witnessed by Yunnan, who happened to be passing by. She quickly stopped the maidservant beside her, telling her not to make a sound, because she could use this opportunity to humiliate Yin Wei. This way, no one would compete with her for the position of princess consort. Meanwhile, Ling Wan looked in astonishment at Xie, who had barged in late at night. Why are you here? The man pinned her against the wall with a mischievous smile. Didn't you say we couldn't find a chance to be alone? So I came to let you experience what it means to be truly alone. However, The woman burst out laughing, inwardly calling him a paper tiger. He was clearly nervous to death, but still deliberately trying to flirt with her. Her reaction clearly surprised the man. He stood there stunned. At this moment, Ling Wan deliberately placed her hand on his chest. Then please, Your Highness Prince Zhao, enlighten me. What is this so-called truly alone? Her alluring voice made the man's face flush red. In the silent air, apart from the faint rustling of the wind, only the sound of the man's heartbeat remained. The woman chuckled softly. Your heart is beating so fast. That's because it's longing for you. And you? We've been apart for so long. Are you longing for me too? Hearing this, Ling Wan instantly blushed. When did the Regent King become so cheesy? The man gently caressed her face that I thought you would like it. Flustered, Ling Wan didn't dare to look him in the eye. When did I ever say I liked it? Unexpectedly, the man suddenly became serious, asking her if it was because of her identity as a princess from an enemy nation that you left without saying goodbye. Hearing this, Ling Wan's heart tightened. Just as she was about to reveal her identity, Yunan's voice came from outside the door. Yunwei, an assassin has suddenly appeared in the palace. For your safety, I brought people to conduct a search. This sudden move left Ling Wan completely stunned. In a panic, she looked around, searching for a place to hide him. Seeing that Yunnan was about to break down the door, Ling Wan quickly ran to the cabinet. But the man refused. That I am the dignified Regent King of the Qing nation. I'm not going to hide in a cabinet as if I'm having an affair. I won't do it. What's wrong with me seeing my own wife? The woman grabbed him. Just now, you didn't act like a Regent King at all. You were more like a lecherous scoundrel. Then, with a whoosh, she threw the man into the cabinet. When Yunnan burst in with her people, Ling Wan was sitting nonchalantly on the cabinet. Sister, have you given up being a princess to become a palace guard instead? Such toil and worry can't be good for your health. An assassin has appeared in the palace. I suspect they're hiding in your chambers. After speaking, she didn't forget to look around for any suspicious signs. Before I marry into the Qing nation, I must naturally protect my own sister to keep our father emperor from worrying. Hee, you're mistaken, sister. It's not yet certain who will marry into the Qing nation. Yunnan smiled smugly. If a man is found in my dear sister's chambers, I'm afraid you won't be able to marry even if you want to. Men, search the place. A man sneaks into his beloved's private chamber in the middle of the night. Before they could even get cozy, someone came knocking to catch the heart stealer. As the Regent King, he was stuffed into a cabinet by his wife, just as Yunnan ordered her men to search. Yin Wangshu, who had already left, turned back. That I was not aware that the 7th princess was now in charge of palace security. Yunnan stated that she was worried about Yunwei's safety and reputation, which is why she ordered the search. She then gave Yunwei a meaningful look. That I only meant well. I don't know what my sister is so worried about, that you keep trying to stop me. Hearing this, Yin Wangshu directly ordered the men to begin the search. During a pause in the search, he slowly walked towards Yunnan, pretending he had just come from the Regent King's place. He told me that the choice for the consort will be decided soon. Sister Yunnan, you should go back and rest early to prepare to become the princess consort of Qing. Hearing this, Yunnan was overjoyed. Did he really say he would choose me? Who else is more suitable than you? If the search turns up nothing, you should return to your palace and rest. Just then, a searching guard reported that only the cabinet on the side had not been checked. At this moment, the two of them tensed up instantly. Unexpectedly, Yin Wangshu drew his sword. Then, with a great wave of his hand, the blade plunged straight into the center of the cabinet. Startled by this action, Ling Wan clapped a hand over her mouth, nearly crying out. She never expected he would pull such a stunt. Seems there's no one in the cabinet either. Now that the search is over, let's all disperse. Having failed in her attempt, Yun Lan let out a cold snort and left the scene. Just as she left, Yin Wangshu called out in a cold voice, "Come on out, Your Highness, the Prince Regent." He then nonchalantly poured a cup of tea for him and told him to leave at once. Since Your Highness has intentions for Yun Lan, you'd best not come and provoke Yunwei anymore. Hearing this, Xieqi laughed out loud. I don't believe I ever said I wanted to marry Princess Yunlan. The man drank his tea nonchalantly. That it seems to make no difference whether you've said it or not. Rumors are already rampant outside. Besides, Yunlan is in love with you. In any case, I don't wish for Yunwei to be dragged into this murky business. And you, the Prince Regent of the Qing state, climbing over walls in the middle of the night, behaving so recklessly. If word of this were to reach your country, what do you suppose your people would think? A slight smile played on Xieqi's lips. Tonight, I have been in my residence the entire time. The third prince was just attesting to that for me. I'm surprised you've forgotten so soon. Anxious, Lin Wan stepped forward to explain, Brother, the Prince Regent isn't the kind of person you think he is. But Yin Wangshu had no desire to hear it. He patted Lin Wan's head dotingly, telling her to get some rest. And all of this was seen by Xie Qi, who was standing aside. He teased with a hint of jealousy, If I didn't know he was your brother, I might really start to overthink things. Speechless, Lin Wan came forward and pulled him up that it's late. You should head back now. The man, however, grabbed her hand in return. His eyes were incredibly resolute. No one in this world can stop me. I will make sure everyone knows that you are the only one I want. And so, early the next morning, he paid a visit to the emperor to state that the person he wished to marry was the 11th princess, Yunwei. The emperor, however, told him to think it over for one more night and announce it to everyone at the flower viewing banquet the following day. After Xie Qi left, Yinlan's birth mother began to fan the flames, stating that Yin Wei grew up in the cold palace and was, in every respect, a less suitable match than Yinlan. The emperor sighed at her words. If only he would change his mind and choose Yinlan, that would be wonderful. Meanwhile, upon learning that she had not been chosen by the Prince Regent, Yinlan was furious. To stop the two of them, she ordered her handmaiden to spread the news all over the city that the Prince Regent was sterile. Very quickly, this news circulated inside and outside the palace, becoming a topic of gossip for everyone. The Prince Regent seems so elegant and charming. I can't believe he's unable to have children. If a woman were to marry him, wouldn't she be living like a widow? These very words were overheard by Lin Wan, who was taking a bath. She never would have guessed she'd overhear such a huge piece of gossip. As an image of Xie Qi's silly face flashed through her mind, she felt a pang of shyness. As she, lost in thought, prepared to stand up, she was completely unaware of the figure approaching from behind. I ask this what you want, my lady? A man's deep voice suddenly whispered in her ear. Scared out of her wits, Lin Wan scrambled to cover herself. Why are you here? The man was amused by his wife-to-be's comical reaction. Everyone in the palace knows I'm going to marry you. Of course, I can enter and leave your palace as I wish. Lin Wan was rendered speechless. With a free hand, she repeatedly pushed to the man. You, get out now. We can talk after I'm dressed. The man, however, grabbed her hand. Why, lady can get dressed just fine with me here. Besides, I can offer a helping hand. Lin Wan froze on the spot. Seeing her reaction, the man broke into a smile. It seems my lady has heard those rumors about me. But Lin Wan stated that she didn't believe such a despicable tactic in the slightest, that it's obvious who's behind it. The man, however, lifted a strand of her hair. The water is getting cold. You'll catch a chill, my lady. How about I help you dry your hair and get you dressed? Lin Wan immediately refused. That I know you're here because you want to marry me. I trust you completely. You can go now. But the man turned and picked up her outer robe. More than others, I'm worried that you, my lady, might believe the rumors and doubt your husband's capabilities. Then, in one swift movement, he draped the robe over her. When Lin Wan stepped out of the water, her face was red all the way to her ears. Not daring to look the man in the eye, she looked away, stating that she didn't doubt him. But in the next second, the man swept her up into his arms. Trust isn't built on words alone. It requires tangible action to be convincing. How about we let my lady disprove these rumors right now?